Yep. And sure enough, it turned it off. Damn you, OBS. Let me get you guys on too. Hold on. We're good now. Hello and welcome to The Fix. You're here with your boy, Infinite Umbra. Followed with my co-host, co-star, Daniel J. McGee.
What's up, everybody?
Yes, and we are joined by great community guest and general great podcaster as well, in Crusader. Yeah.
What's good, chat?
What's up, chat family? I see you, Mortivore. What's up, brother? He said, "Hi, Umbra. What's up? By the way, thought you'd be safe here, huh? No, yeah, I should have known you would stalk me here. Yes, Adidas 20. What's up, my Chicago brother? Guys, we got a few things to talk about tonight. We won't keep you guys waiting very long. We are going to speak on obviously the WB situation, WB games. We're going to speak on Wonder Woman cancellation, and we're going to speak on Fable, as well as a few other things in the news roundup. If you guys have any news that we might not be aware of and you don't hear us speak on it, feel free to mention it in the chat. Mortivore, if you mention WoW or whatever MMO you're playing, we're going to ignore you, just so you know. Yeah, but other than that, let's get this housekeeping underway. Fellas, first off, let me thank you, Crusader, for joining us, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, happy to be on.
Happy to have you back. I will start with, let me start with you on this as well, I guess, since I've already, spoke to you. What have you been up to? Tell the good folks what you've been up to as far as not necessarily work, because I know you can't really speak on
my
that.
God. Work is crazy.
I had to make sure
at the CIA.
Right.
No.
But what as far as like, what have you been doing as far as any gaming you've managed to get in, movies, TV show, whatever?
Yeah, so I bought the Avowed Premium Early Access.
Nice.
And I rolled credits on it earlier this week, I think. I don't quite remember, man. Like, time is a social construct. I beat, I think it was over the weekend. I really, really liked Avowed. There's only a few things that I would change about it. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Any DLC they put out, I'll be there day one. I really, 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 really enjoyed it. I have been playing Divinity Original and Sin Enhanced Edition. I've been playing that co-op with a friend. We play every Tuesday night, and any other time when we're both available. That is a ton of fun. If you liked Baldur's Gate 3, the Divinity series was basically the reason why Larian was able to get the license for Dungeons and Dragons. And when you play them, you're like, man, Larian wanted to make a Dungeons and Dragons game, because they did. And I started Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Nice.
It is really good, but like, man, have I been spoiled in the genre of like kind of like survival horror games by Dead Space? Because every time I play any one of them that's not Dead Space, I'm like, man, I wish I was playing Dead Space. And so far, Resident Evil 4, the one thing that gives me serotonin that Dead Space didn't do is the whole like treasure system with like the jewels and socketing them in to sell them for more money. That's big serotonin, but I am enjoying it so far.
What are you selling?
Yeah, what are you selling?
What are you buying? Yeah.
I love, and I have been playing Destiny 2's newest episode, or as like any normal person would call it, a season, which is back on Destiny 1's Dreadnought. And
nice.
it is really good. It has been very, very fun so far.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. It seems like since that last drop, I remember you speaking on it. Seems like they've been steadily keeping a balance of good stuff.
Yeah. Cause like Final Shape, like the expansion, really good.
Yeah.
The episode that came with it, Echoes, was very bleh. And then they laid off a bunch of people, and it was very bleh. Revenant had some good stuff to it, had some bleh stuff to it, And so far, Heresy has just been kind of peak Destiny again. Like really, really fun. The new dungeon was really fun. I did that blind with some friends where we go in and we try and figure out all the mechanics for ourselves.
Yeah.
That was really, really fun.
Sounds like
yeah,
that's cool.
So I've been playing all kinds of things all over the place.
Yeah, man, I voted on that Resident Evil 4 by you.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah,
I know you did.
So, classic. It's a classic. You got to get that one out. You know.
At some point, I gotta finish Hellblade 2, but Hellblade 2, there's nothing wrong with it. It just, like, the first one exists, and, like, with the emotional impact of the first one, the second one can't really replicate that, and that was what made the first one so good.
I get
But we already know this stuff about the characters, and so, like, it's really hard for me to get into it, even though, like, in every way, it's probably an upgrade over the first game.
I get you for sure, and it's like also too for sometimes for some people at least, it's like you have to emotionally invest yourself in something that's heavy content wise. For me, I would say another thing about Hellblade, unfortunately, is that it's not a really fast-paced game. So the pacing of it and the way you have to solve puzzles and stuff like that doesn't, I think, entice toward the idea of, man, let me jump back into this, right? Because you have so many high-octane games you can be playing instead.
Yeah.
So
and it's hard because, like, I can't play that one when I'm talking with friends in Discord.
Yeah.
Because, like, it requires your full attention in all ways to truly experience what, like, Hellblade is. Like, the same thing was true with the first one.
True. Yeah, especially with the sounds and such like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I've experienced it putting on, like, the headphones or whatever and listening, and it's really engrossing in that way. So I agree with you. Mortivore says that Divinity Original Sin 2 is better than BG3. He says so much better because of the new IP and not locked into the D&D universe and game rules.
So, I mean, where that may be seen as a detriment to some, that could be seen as, like, a benefit to others who like D&D. So, like, I'm not going to take a side there. I don't actually... I really like Divinity Original Sin 1, and I also like playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. So, like...
I like playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition 2024 edition.
No.
Coward. I'm sorry. I mean, you're right, but coward.
I haven't played either of these yet, and I own BG3 as well. I got it given to me. I won it actually from a podcast, but I need to play that still. But Divinity, is it also like a top-down kind of game, right?
Yes, they're all very similar. They are. It's like you move around in real time when you're moving around, but when it gets into combat, the combat is turn-based.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But it is top-down or isometric camera the whole time.
Gotcha.
But then it turns into almost like a tactics kind of thing when you're doing combat. But like Divinity is really special in that like elements matter and like applying fire to a surface matters because then you can apply something else to it that can cause like an explosion. And so like you have to be really careful where you're standing, and you can alternatively you can look at like, oh, all of those enemies are standing around a fire. Well, I'm going to throw this toxic grenade, and when it hits the fire, it's actually going to cause a massive explosion and spread fire everywhere.
Nice. Okay, so it's a bit of strategy involved with it as well.
A huge amount of strategy. Like you have to really look at the maps that you're on and do stuff. And like I'm playing it co-op with a friend, so like I control 2 of the characters in our party, and he controls the other 2 characters in our party.
Oh, that's pretty dope.
So like it's really fun that we're like doing the like strategizing together. And I actually think that those games are like exceptional because you can either play them by yourself and control all the characters traditionally, or you can play it in co-op and really have a good time with a friend. And it's like we're playing D&D together, but the dungeon master is the game.
You know, I play that. And Morty, if I play that with you, I'm likely going to cause you a headache. I'm like,
it's so funny. Like, cause like sometimes I won't be paying attention and I'll just hear my friend scream, no, wait, and I'll like walk into a trap and everything will explode. And
you like Leroy Jenkins.
And it's so funny.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah, man, I hear you. I want to say hello to a few other people that joined us. What's up, Magnum? Gray, our Gray Monad, our mod. What's up, brother? That blue number, the lovely blue. What's up, blue? Thanks for joining us. The Black John, my brother, my rock goon brother, should I say? And what's up, Red Dead Panda? So lovely to see you. Thank you all for coming by. Yeah, man, like all those things sound great. Shoot, hey, if you're free, maybe you could have you swing by for the Avowed preview. I guess that's fair to say.
If I'm available, it's gonna be tough. I will let you, like, if you give me a day and time, I will probably let you know 2 hours before the event, because that is my life. That is genuinely my life right now.
Yeah. I mean, even
yeah.
if it's only like a quick, like you can only stop in quickly.
Sure.
That's fine too. We did that before with other guys, and Black Viking, everybody else jumped in the last second, like, all right, here I am. Here's my thoughts, and that was the end of it. So we can do that too.
It'll ultimately depend on if the day you're doing it, if I'm banished to the New Jersey dimension or not.
Oh,
it's a rough dimension.
Yeah.
It is a rough dimension, but that is a 5-hour round trip drive.
You have to deal with the Snookies.
Network installation install.
Yeah.
So like
the Snookies and hair jail division.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. So, Danny, my good brother, what have you been up to? What have you been playing, watching, et cetera, et cetera? I know you guys uploaded your newest episode of the replay playback.
Yeah, we just uploaded our newest episode of replay. I think it's episode 4 of that.
Yeah.
In which we talk about both Mario Party 1 and Mario Party 2. We stuck together because we were like, well, we won't have that much to say about Mario Party. We were wrong, and it ended up being like 2.5 hours long, whereas most of our stuff is like an hour 10.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, oops.
Did it get as heated as a game of Mario Party?
No, we were all burnt out from playing Mario Party. So we didn't have that much heat left. I mean, it's still a really good. There is heat, but we weren't like screaming at each other. We were mostly like, I cannot believe that there was only one lawsuit about this game.
What, it was like they did like a copyright infringement or something of other games?
No. So when the Mario Party 1 came out on the N64, there was a lawsuit because there were a couple of mini games, but it's mostly linked to this one called, oh god, I'm gonna have to remember. It's like Battle of the Bulb. No, that's a different thing. Battle of the Bulb is where you have to run the. There's one. Okay.
I thought you were gonna say Battle of the Bulge. I'm like, wait a minute.
No, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
But you have to light up a light bulb before like Boo gets you, and to do that you have to spin the middle stick on the N64.
Yeah.
And people would put that right in the center of their palm and just go to town spinning that bitch, and they would burn a hole in the center of their hand and get a big ass blister. So they ended up getting a lawsuit about it and had to put a thing at the beginning of every other Mario Party game, I think pretty much for the rest of time. That's like, bitch, don't.
Yeah, my friend and I used to play the Game of Life on the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And there was a mini game where it's something similar, and my friend would like send us a video after we were done playing a game, and he would just have a giant blister in the middle of his hand because he was a psychopath.
Yeah.
He really wanted to win.
Yeah. Oh, and he always won that mini game.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I got real good at it. And I found new tech where you just kind of nestle it between the little, I'm going to call it the taint. You put it in the taint of your hand. The little
the taint of your hand.
The gooch between your thumb and your pointer finger.
Yeah.
You just nestle it right in there.
The hand gooch.
The hand gooch right there. And you just, it's the same thing really, but it just burns less.
Yeah.
But no, actually, also for RSR, I've been playing The Sims lately. So I just bought the Sims 1 Legacy Collection because for people who are here who don't watch Ready Set Replay, first of all, what's wrong with you? It's a good ass show, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not biased. Anyway, but we're playing through like the games from the year 2000 chronological order, and like the one that we're up to now is The Sims, and we were like, it was going to be a problem trying to play it because the game is so old now that it doesn't really run on modern computers because the computer like freaks the fuck out because it doesn't know how to do it.
Right.
It's like, well, I've got like a bunch of cores and that thing used to run on a potato, so I've got too much power. I don't know. I truly don't know the math behind it, but it doesn't work. So you can either play the old discs, which is what we thought we were going to have to do because I have the complete collection on disc, and then just like go through a really long process of like modding it so that it'll literally open on your computer. But the week before we were going to start playing it, EA was like, hey, it's like the 25-year anniversary. We're going to put out the we're just going to re-release the legendary collections of Sims 1 and 2, which is great. So I went on Steam and I bought it. Completely broken. It's like 50% of all computers just cannot run the thing.
Wow.
So I had to spend like 2 solid days combing through forums trying to find different ways to make the game actually work. Because like there's different ways to fix it for different builds because the PC landscape is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So, but I got it working. Now it only crashes sometimes. But hey, I can play the game now.
Progress.
We got somewhere. So that's been my last couple of days. Played a little bit of Avowed. Wish I had played more. I'm only like 12 hours into that. But the thing I really want to talk about is it's serious time. It's time to get serious. Everyone, grab your nuts and drop your buffs because there's a new season of Survivor just started.
Oh boy.
There's a new season of Survivor. Survivor season 48 just started. The first episode last night. I was looking at the cast before the season started, and I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know. These people really standing out to me. First season, like episode started, we're like 10 minutes in. I'm like, this might be one of the best casts I've ever had. This is phenomenal. There's this guy on it. I think he's my guy. Every season I got a guy. For me now, it's this guy called Joe. We got Joe. He's a fire captain from somewhere in California, and he's never watched the show really. Like that's his thing. Is he has never really watched Survivor like at all. You might be saying like, oh well, why is he on the show? Like why would you apply to be on Survivor if you don't watch Survivor? Fair question. I and well asked. Thank you.
Panda even asked. She said that Survivor is still going. Yeah.
I will come through this internet, Panda. But no. So yeah, we're talking about season 48. But no, he's never watched it. So he applied because his sister recently passed from being murdered, frankly, in a domestic violence situation. And it was always her dream to be on the show, and she obviously didn't make it. And so he applied in her stead to like live her dream for her. And it's just this like really sad, really dramatic story. And then he gets on in an episode 1. I mean, the spoilers for the first episode, I guess. But in episode 1, he meets up with this girl, Eva. And she's on his tribe with him. And she's very strong and very capable, but she's also autistic. And so they form a tight alliance like really fast because they just connect. And she lets him know. She's like, hey, I'm autistic, and that's going to be a problem for me out here because it comes with 2 major things. Number 1, I don't have like the social cues. I cannot tell when people are lying to me, which in a game like Survivor, not a great thing.
Terrible.
Not a great disadvantage.
Right.
And then the other thing is that sometimes she has episodes where she just kind of like gets in her own head and like locks up, right? And so she's like, okay, so here's the situation. If you can tell, like if I'm going into an episode, this is what it looks like, and this is how you pull me out of it. And she was like very calm and very well organized. And he, being a fire captain and being the brother of a recently murdered sister, he's like he's locked in. He's like, this is my girl. I'm going to ride or die with this girl until the end of time. Like she could not have picked a better person.
So he's like, like her protector. Yeah, because he sees her like a sister almost in a way, right?
I have known these 2 people for like an hour now, and I'm like, if anything ever happens to Eve and Joe, I'm gonna fly to Fiji and we're gonna have words. Me and Jeff Probst, we're gonna speak about how you let this happen to my family.
Danny's gonna be out there like, I need to speak to the manager right now.
I need to speak. Get me on. I need Jeff Probst. I need him to know that if Joe doesn't make it to at least final 6, I'm protesting.
It's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem. Yeah, man.
It's so good. I highly recommend it. If you're not watching The Sims, if you're not playing The Sims, you're fine. If you're not watching Survivor,
I was gonna say The Sims.
You're fine. It's a fun game, but don't worry about it. If you're not watching Survivor, this is a good season to start. This is a really good one.
What season is it again?
I can tell it. We're on 48.
Season 48.
We are on season 48. There'll be this one and then 49. 50 is going to be a reunion, not a reunion show, a returnee season. So at that point, everybody on it's going to be people from old seasons, and we have no idea what that's going to look like. Except they also just announced in the first episode that for season 50, the fans are going to, for the first time ever, have control over the game, because we've never had anything like that. I've been watching it for my entire life, literally my entire life. The show started in the year 2000.
Was it gonna have like a call in where you can vote up somebody out or something like that? Or
no, so we don't vote people out, but we can control sort of the like production aspects of the show. So every couple weeks they're gonna put out some new things for us to vote on, and so far it's like one of them's like pretty nothing. It's like, what color are the buffs gonna be, and it's like whatever. But then it's like, do you want them to get rice? Because in the new era, since season 40, they have not gotten rice at all. They had to earn literally everything.
Do you
If
want
they
them
don't
to
win,
eat?
they don't eat.
If you don't vote for them, they'll starve.
Yeah. And then they're like, okay, and then do you want to have at Final Four, do you want a fire making challenge like has been happening for the last long time? I voted yes on that. I know people don't like fire making, but I think it's the great equalizer. I think it sets up some really great moments. And then the last one that they were offering was like, do you want to have a live reunion show probably in LA, or do you want us to just keep doing it on Fiji like we've been doing since the pandemic? And I was like, put that bitch in LA, because if people vote for it to have a live reunion, I'm going to it. Like, I'm gonna be there.
I hope it happens.
You can't
man.
stop me.
Yeah, I want you to go. I want to be dope for you that happen. Yeah, have you out there, woo, tallest guy in the audience, cheering him on.
Jeff Probst, I love you.
Jeff Probst, I love you, Joe. Right. Suddenly you're going to get a heavy Southern drawl. I love you, Joe.
The last 2 seasons of Survivor have been like golden era phenomenal seasons, and I think this one's going to follow that trend.
Yeah.
So if you have not been watching Survivor, now's a phenomenal time to get in. No joke. It's real good.
Nice. Man, it's been a while since I just watched reality TV type stuff, but yeah, I might have to check it out. Just at least to have the conversation with you at times. Like, yeah, you saw when Joe did this?
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to betray that girl.
Did you cry when Joe stabbed Eve?
Right.
It's going to happen.
Right. What about anything like gaming or anything else? Well, I know you obviously.
Yeah, I did The Sims. I played a little bit of Avowed. Like I said, I think I put about 12 hours into Avowed.
Okay.
I'm like nearing the end of the first area, I think. I still only have Kai, but I already love him more than literally any companion in Veilguard. I like a lot.
Kai is pretty dope. I like Kai a lot.
He's the homie, and I hope he never betrays me.
Yeah.
But no, I'm in love with him. I think he's phenomenal.
It's
really
incredible that they made the second best, or they made the best companion in a game since Garrus. And all it took was making Garrus again.
All it took was making Garrus a fish. Yeah,
that's
they
all
made
it
Garrus
took.
a fish with more confidence.
Just do it. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah.
But no, I'm really, really loving it. I understand what you're saying about what you were saying before about the like I gotta unlock the whole map because the area, the like fog of war thing.
Oh man,
I actually don't care for the fog of war thing, but it's fine.
That's
like the one thing.
That was one of my
like,
minor
I wish this
complaints
map
about
was
the game.
different. But
that OCD for me was killing me, man. That's why I'm so like I would have been finished with the game, likely, but trying to go actively unfog the areas kept me literally like I couldn't resist it. Like so, I the beautiful part about playing on PC is that you can get mods. So I got a mod for no fog of war and just cleared the entire map off of fog. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I got the mod where The Sims just doesn't launch. And then you get to play IT for 2 days. That's my favorite PC mod.
Yeah, that sounds much better time. Yeah.
It was a great time. Really loved it. Really. Yeah. It was time well spent, let me tell you.
Yeah. But yeah, that's dope, man. Like I am very far into. Let me say hello to a few other people. I see a few other people join us. Web Dave, what's up, brother? Who else was it? MJ Dark, who besmirched my beloved Unreal Engine 5. He said, I heard that a new torture method is to have people play UE5 games with no upscaling. You see, this is a type of slander like that'll get you ousted. K. Asante, what's up, brother? Evening. Good evening. We're going to regale you with our tales of woe. But so I had obviously I've been playing Avowed, and another reason why I'm not finished either is because I was actually doing something I normally don't do, which is playing more than one game at a time. So I was also playing that game Hack we were talking about the last time, the HAAK, and yeah, but the one that Microsoft fumbled and never got in contact with them, so they avoided Xbox for a while or whatever. Played through that. Metroidvanias, one of my biggest, loves in gaming are Metroidvania. So I played through that, beat that, and went back, got most of the achievements. Enjoyed the hell out of that. What's that? Oh, okay.
Someone just revved up the loudest car in existence
outside
my window.
I was gonna say that sounds like a 1975. Yeah, no, but also too. So the Hack played through that. I had watched this movie. I don't know if you guys had heard of it yet. and chat too. If you guys have not watched this, check this out when you get a chance, because I think it's. I watched it through illicit means, but I'm sure there's ways to get it in other ways. It's called Companion. Have you all heard of that?
The movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Yeah.
Well, but yeah, I don't know the name of the guy, but he's like Huey. Is it Huey? He's like Huey from The Boys, right?
Yeah,
he's also in Scream.
That's
he's
right.
In like a bunch of stuff related.
That's right. He's off The Boys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's the one with like the girl who does the trailer. She's got her hand over the candle.
Yep. So yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but all my friends have been like, it's really good, and like I know. Well, okay. I know the thing that they say is a spoiler, but I knew it before anybody told. Like, I thought it was in the trailer, but I won't say.
You know what? When I saw the trailer, it kind of hipped me to what it was about too. So I would say for those who are hearing this, don't look up the trailer. Just watch it blind. It's called Companion. The MJ actually put me up on it. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he's the one that put me up on it. Him and another buddy. So Panda had seen the trailer. Yeah, Panda, if you get a chance, check that out when you get a second. I think it's no longer than 2 hours or whatever. It's not a long movie. Really damn good. And I mean, kind of predictable in a way, but still really entertaining in a really interesting way on how they approached it. I would say. So I had watched that. I also had done a few other things where I had got these AR glasses, so I'm going to test those out overnight and see how that works out. And right now I'm podcasting off Old Dusty, but tomorrow I have a brand new podcasting PC arriving with a 4060 inside of it, and I got that bad boy for a decent price too. So I'm going to be retiring Old Dusty here and moving on to greener pastures. Thank you, Old Dusty, for your time and for your efforts. But yes, going to be moving on up to that. I feel good. I do. I knew that I would. I feel good. I knew that I would. So good. So good. I got you.
I thought that's what you were doing, but I didn't want to. I thought that's what was happening.
I didn't know if you all were catching it. I was like, I don't think my brothers are catching this, but yeah. So that's been my weekend as far as that goes. Did I watch anything else? I don't think I watched much else. I did read the latest Dan to Dan. I'm like way up, yeah. So I'm loving that too. But other than that, Palpatine, what's up, brother? Let's move to the news roundup, Danny.
Okay, so we had a Pokemon Presents today. It was pretty all right. There were a bunch of updates on things that, like, quite frankly, I don't know that it was necessarily like worth spending direct time on. You know, there's like, hey, there's a new pack coming to TCG Pocket. That's cool. There's like an update for Pokemon Cafe. They added 3 guys to Pokemon Unity, a bunch of littler things like that. But the 2 bigger things that are sort of hitting the internet right now is we got our first look at Pokemon Champions, which is it's on Switch also, but it looks like it's going to be probably primarily played on phones, like as an app. And it's just the battles. It's just a Pokemon battling app, which people have been asking for a long time. And there's like knockoff, probably illegal versions that'll, I'm sure, get NDA'd real fast now that this thing's coming out. So that'll be cool. People have been asking for that for a long time, so that's really great for the community. People big on the battling scene in Pokemon. It's secretly scene. Like one of the bigger esports. You know, I think people don't really consider it an esport, but if it is, it's one of the bigger ones.
Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Like Crusader, you still there? You may have stepped away.
I am here.
You're big into the Pokemon still, right?
Kinda.
Okay.
I like the mainline games, but I own Scarlet and Violet, but I've yet to open them, and I'm probably just going to wait for Ace to play them on Switch too. Because baseline, they'll either play the same or they will be more stable on Switch too, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to be like...
I wouldn't expect it to be much better, but I would expect the frame rate to be at least stable.
I mean,
You know,
you have a PC.
I mean, here's hoping.
You got a PC.
You're right, I have a
just,
PC.
You know,
but my philosophy with games that are currently on the market is, unless I have a way to generate my own ROM, I do not pirate them. I will rip my own ROMs off of my own devices and do that. Like I have a fully jailbroken 3DS that I rip all of my own ROMs off of my 3DS so that I can play them on an emulator. If I cannot through legal means play a video game, I will absolutely consider it abandonware and will use illicit means to be able to play it.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough.
So like, I don't currently have a way to rip my my ROMs off of my Switch, so I don't. At some point, I will probably jailbreak a Switch and do that. Every time there's a Pokemon's Present, I pray that this is the time that I'm going to hear that Nintendo Switch Online is getting the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games with Pokemon Home support. And every time I'm let down. Every time. And it's not some ridiculous ask. They had the Game Boy Color ones on the 3DS with Pokemon. What was the thing before Home?
Oh,
the transfer solution that was on that was basically Pokemon Home before the Switch.
I know what you mean, but I don't remember.
And
it
like,
might have just been called like no, it wasn't like Pokemon Hub. I don't know. It was something.
Yeah, but like they did it with the Game Boy Color ones already on the 3DS, and like that's all I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll pay ridiculous amounts of money for that.
Yeah.
Stupid amounts of money. That like like $20 a freaking Game Boy Color game.
Let me ask you. Now that you mention it like that, it makes me think, because I always think about like how much Nintendo sells as far as their games, like 38 million copies of you know Mario Kart. What is it? Like, does Nintendo put like black magic on you guys or something that makes you want to like buy more games for them and more like peripherals and such?
I only bought my Nintendo Switch when Metroid Dread was released. I bought my Switch the day Metroid Dread was released because Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advanced is one of my favorite video games of all time. And Dread was the sequel that came 20 freaking years later, or however long it was, 19 years, whatever the ludicrous number of years is.
So you only got that in 2021?
Yeah. Wow. And I was that is the only reason I have a Switch. I am not a Nintendo person. I like Pokemon. I do really like Pokemon.
I got love for Pokemon. Yeah.
And so like if I did not have to buy a Nintendo Switch and I could play Pokemon literally anywhere else legally and like still connect to the online so that I can battle friends and stuff like that, I would. But like that's the whole reason I have a Nintendo Switch. It's the whole reason I'll buy a Switch 2. Because like I'm the least excited person you'll see on the internet about the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Who's being genuine and not a console warrior.
That's me.
You're not excited either?
I could be less excited than you.
Okay. I'm not that excited. But like I love the older I love the DS generations were the best ones. And
those are the ones I actually played. I like those. Yeah. I'm with you there.
It's just so I was so let down that, and like I don't think that asking for the old games to enter NSO is even that high of a bar to
it's
like
not.
want.
It's not at all. Is it because the thing is like they added we added Game Boy Color support to the thing. Here's the whole catalog, and you look at it and it's like, my guy, there was like 2 games people gave a shit about here, and it was called Pokemon Red and Blue and Pokemon Gold and Silver, and you didn't get neither of them shits on there. It's like, but we got Tetris. Great. I can play Tetris on anything. I play Tetris on my goddamn microwave. I don't need you for that.
It's the same fucking bullshit with PlayStation when their last State of Play, they held the PS Plus Classics announcement for the State of Play, and then didn't have the PS2 or PSP God of Wars or the PS2 Ratchet and Clank games. And I'm sitting here what? Did you hold that for Patapon? Like, God,
I would
Just
imagine.
companies-
I would
Who
imagine
was
the God of
asking?
War games will hell because the rumor is that they're doing
that's fine.
remakes and
That's fine.
remasters. Yeah.
But like, I grow ever disappointed with these companies with the IPs that they own or have a controlling right over, because Nintendo doesn't technically own Pokemon.
Right.
They own
They're-
1/3 of the Pokemon company.
Yeah.
They own the publishing rights to the games.
Who's the other half? Game Science, is it? I think.
So Game
Game
Freak
Freak.
owns
Game
a third,
Freak,
and the
there's
the
Pokemon
Pokemon
company itself
Gotcha.
owns a third of itself.
Okay.
It's
It's
just so
really stupid.
frustrating.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to. I just want to be able to play the old Pokemon. Like,
Yeah.
I will
and
give
it's not like
you
they were
a-
cutting the sales. You're not
you
selling it
can.
anywhere else. There's no
I
other way to
want
get
you
it.
to sell me them. I
If-
want you to put this product on the market.
If
and
you
let me
would
take my money.
suspend your morals, you could be playing what you want right this
Right.
minute. Just saying.
I don't need
Well,
to
so here's
suspend
the
nothing.
thing.
I already. I mean, don't worry about it.
Here's the thing. I have a
Yeah.
jailbroken 3DS that has every Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advanced, and DS Pokemon game loaded onto it.
Yeah.
I want the Pokemon Home support so that I can move all my Pokemon between my shit really easy and just
Yeah.
play it all and just it be seamless and be able to battle my friends just easily while I'm holding my Switch in my hand. That's like. Being able to do it on the PC is good and fine, but there's a lot of limitations with being able to play with my friends and crap like that.
I hear
and
you.
that's
I hear
part
you.
of what I want.
That's the charm. Yeah, I get it.
It's just
See, me, I'm doing those
so
solo dolos, so I wouldn't care about it.
frustrating.
But I do get it. We had a few
Um,
comments to the Pokemon here.
Ooh.
MJ says the MJ Dark says that Switch is the best play to play and Nintendo is the GOAT. I would disagree with you completely, but I understand.
I mean, I would call them.
I mean, it's
like,
the best place to play a Nintendo game because it's the only place to.
Well,
It's
is
the only
it?
place to legally play.
There you go. Well,
Is
yeah.
it? I mean, rumor has it. not that I would know, but rumor
Mercury
has it that
legal.
you can play these Pokemon games on your cell phone.
Yeah,
I mean,
hey.
I don't know nothing about that.
Hey, listen,
I don't know nothing about that,
we won't
officer. But
we won't
what I hear
advocate it.
is-
Nintendo will come after us, so I'm not even going to say anything else. But Black John says that he's just a Pokemon person. He says, I'm just a Pokemon person. Now, what you said, I felt like you were trying to say I'm just not, but he says I'm just a Pokemon person. Garuda says, I wish Pokemon, what's up, Garuda? He says, I wish Pokemon was still good. They dumbed it down too much. Black John says, I think Pokemon should be everywhere, especially where
yeah, I do too.
it
Yeah.
might not, right? Yeah.
I do too.
But,
I think all games should be everywhere.
Yeah.
Hey, Microsoft does too. Great Monad said, "Stop poking people's moms." Okay, you know what?
Pokemon moms as I see fit, damn it.
You're right. I'm going to poke her good. Damn you. Garuda says the Pokemon has been clapped cheeks for years. So much wasted potential, nothing but cash and games now.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with that.
The last couple Pokemon games been
Yeah.
real ass.
Yeah.
Been disappointing.
Camille, what's it? How do you say this? Camille Kabachin, is it Kapuscinski? I believe I said that right. Camille Kabachinski. Hello. I don't think I've seen you here before, but welcome, Camille. I'm not sure if I have or not, at least. And Soil Tech, what's up, brother? It says MJ Dark is absolutely right. What's up, Major?
What did he say?
He's kissing up.
About the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's kissing up the
What's
Nintendo. Yeah, Soil Tech. Come
How
on.
dare.
You know.
That's fine. That's fine.
Listen, if you're gonna praise Nintendo Switch, you need to praise Unreal Engine 5 Soil Tech. You know the rules here, so I'm just saying.
Balance the scale.
Exactly. Hey, I got a delivery at the door. Danny, could you move to the next topic really quick? I'll be right back.
Oh, I mean, I'm not even done with this one, really. But
Oh,
yeah.
okay. We'll keep going. Then. I'll be right back.
So the big thing that came out from the Pokemon Presents is they showed us more of, or potentially the first thing of, Pokemon ZA, which is the new Legends game. So you got, in the same vein as Pokemon Legends Arceus, if y'all played that, it is that, but instead of being in the past, it seems to be like potentially in the future. It's unclear, but there's like holograms and stuff, so it like feels like it's the future. And it's in Kalos, which is the X and Y region that's like France based, which is neat. I really like the X and Y games. They weren't like great, but they were probably some of the last like good ones. So I'm all for going back there. We got our first look at what the starters for those ones are going to be. So it's Totodile and Chikorita from Johto and Tepig from Unova, which I think is really exciting for me personally, because assuming that it follows the same trend as Legends Arceus, which I have to assume it will, it means that those 3 will get new final evolutions, or I mean, largely the same, but with different typings and the look slightly different. And Feraligatr and Embor are 2 of my favorite starters, so getting new forms of them sounds really exciting to me. I hope that they look cool. And then Meganium, Chikorita's final evolution, like canonically sucks ass. Like, it's like the worst evolution, and it's like the worst starter. I think most people think that. So it getting a new form is like, well, I can only go up from here. Like, there's no way it can be worse. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. You got any interest in these Legends games, Crusader?
So, Pokemon Legends Arceus is a game that I own and that I want to play.
Okay. Oh,
and
is it still
I almost,
wrapped up too?
I almost no. So it is in the Switch, but it has not been. I have not hit the start button on it. And that
okay.
like I'm just kind of. It's another one of those where I'm like, I could play this now, and I could have a good time with it, or I could have a slightly better time with it with the Switch 2 that I will eventually buy, because it'll run just a little bit more, at least minimum stable.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know.
Because like I would expect that the thing that has a more powerful CPU to just be able to like at least run it, like it's not gonna look any prettier, but it'll probably not have the frame drops or hitching that like the things on the current Switch have.
I think that's a bold.
It is
thing to
Nintendo.
assume.
I am asking a lot, but like fundamentally, like that should be how it like logically would work on better hardware.
Yeah, you would hope so.
Unless it's a real containerized and somehow they are emulating like the original Switch perfectly with all of its like lower hardware.
If there was anyone who's gonna do some shit like that, it would be Nintendo.
To preserve how it exactly played, we're not letting it play any better on the new hardware.
Yeah.
What?
to maintain the accuracy to how fast it was a couple years ago, we have done everything in our power to make sure it is physically impossible to make it run literally any different. But yeah, this is supposed to launch at the end of 2025, which is pretty exciting. The big thing that people are sort of disappointed coming out of this presents about is that people were thinking that we were going to start getting our first teases for the next generation of Pokemon, because generally speaking, we get a new generation of Pokemon about every 3 years, and we're pretty much on track for that. I think that they're holding off on that for like a bigger showing next year, because this was the 29th anniversary of Pokemon.
Yeah,
so
it'll be with the 30th.
So like that'll be a big deal. I think we're going into like Gen 10 too, so theoretically they'll do something crazy for that, because like 10's a big number for something like this.
And they've had a lot of negative pushback with like the performance and optimizations. Maybe they're just giving it. Maybe they're actually giving it the time and love it actually needs, instead of like.
That's crazy.
Instead of wasting
optimism from you,
right? Optimism from me, towards the Pokemon Company.
Impossible. Could
but
never
like,
happen.
They did like they did take a little bit of a hit. Like it's not like they didn't sell 1 billion copies of the last Pokemon generation, but the last Pokemon generation didn't sell as good as the one before it. It sold exceptionally well. But like maybe they're looking at it and be like, maybe if we give it another year, align it with the 30th anniversary, align it, do all that crap, that launch it on the Switch 2 exclusively. It'll look better, or it'll just be the same shit again, and it'll launch on both Switches, and people will still buy it. I don't know.
Well, so I'm back. Sorry about that.
Hello.
What else? Let's move to another topic, because we gotta get a move on a bit.
I want to talk for a second about the NetEase unraveling that happened last week. So basically, the big thing that happened that sort of spun everyone into learning about all the other things that NetEase has been hiding under the rug a little bit was they laid off the entire Seattle-based team behind Marvel Rivals, which is not the team that like necessarily made Marvel Rivals, but it does include one of the like lead design directors who apparently did a lot of the like actual like visual elements of it, which is apparently what a lot of people really like about that game, as well as presumably some amount of localization. I assume would have to do that because it's like the only American office, and they also had a lot of like just support team in there. It seems like it was a relatively small team in comparison to their other teams for Marvel Rivals in particular, but still, people getting laid off is never good. The thing that's come out of this though is people have started being like, who is NetEase? Because up until Marvel Rivals, really, they've been able to sort of like hide under the carpet of like, oh, it's just like that other one. It's that Chinese one that's not Tencent. Like they're doing okay stuff. turns out, yeah, not so much really. So they have been lately largely divesting or backtracking on their previous initiative to hire a bunch of like more big name game developers and help them create studios and or partner with people who had spun off of other studios to create their own, but specifically targeting like bigger name people. They're backing out of that for all of those studios that do not all, but the majority of those studios that do not exist in China, which is a real pain in the ass because there's a lot of really promising teams that are now just like completely screwed. And some of these we've already known about, but we didn't necessarily know that it was like NetEase's fault. Like for example, Casey Hudson from BioWare, he was the director for like KOTOR and Mass Effect and all that. His studio Humanoid got shut down. I think in like November of last year for exactly this reason. They lost funding from NetEase and then just like could not find somebody else to do it or on something to that effect. Then you've got teams like Grasshopper, which is the Suda 51 studio. They're facing major layoffs. You got Quantic Dream. They were saying that they aren't facing major layoffs, but they already had some like last year at some point. I'm pretty sure I remember them saying that they were having like staffing issues. And at the time, people were like, it must just be because God, what's his name?
David Cage.
It must just be because David Cage is a creep ass motherfucker, which he is. But it may have also been because of this. And there's a couple of other studios that we've been talking about here on the channel recently, like the one behind, was it Rebel Wolves, whatever, the guy who worked on at CD Projekt Red and was making that vampire game, Blood of the Dawnwalker.
Mhm.
That team is also now in question of whether or not they're going to be able to continue making their game because again, they don't exist in China, but they are being funded by NetEase. So there's just this huge mess of like all of these teams led by some really big name people who it's like, some of them are owned by NetEase and they're apparently looking to divest or sell them. Some they're just going to get shut down. Some have already been shut down. Like I don't think we currently know what Casey Hudson is doing, which is ridiculous because he's potentially one of the most talented people in the industry, just based on how much I love the games he's made. And that goes for upwards of a dozen studios at this point. And it's just like, for what reason? And it seems it's unclear at this time exactly why they're doing this. There's some people who are saying like, oh, they're getting out ahead of these tariffs that are gonna like mess that up. But that to me, I don't know that tracks because a lot of these teams were in America, but not all of them. So it's like, I don't know that tracks for like all of this. It's certainly not helping. But it's just like they are completely condensing and shrinking out of any studios that do not exist in China. And it really sucks. It's really hurting the games industry and specifically people in the games industry whose work I am a fan of, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah. The whole situation with that too, from what I had heard from other people that spoke on it, I mean, it is crazy to see how they can just be like, all of you are fired after you turned in all this great work for us. But apparently though, it's just this smaller American team that did all of the work.
Not all the work, but the team that was being shut down in Seattle is a smaller aspect of NetEase or the teams that made Marvel Rivals in particular.
Yeah.
The numbers are unclear. We don't know specifically, but we do. The one guy who was talking about it, he's like the lead face behind the game, so that's strange. Like he's the one who was out in front doing basically all the press, at least that we saw here in the States for Marvel Rivals. So it's weird to see him go. And again, we don't know how many people it is, but people are saying it's anywhere between like 20 and 40. So it's not like a huge number, but it's enough that it got people, and because it's such a high profile game, that it got people looking into like, what else has NetEase been doing? Oh, bad. Great. Awesome.
So NetEase also last year closed, I don't know exactly how it's pronounced, Oka or Alka or Uka Studios. They were the studio that had created Visions of Mana.
Yeah, I think that is correct. Yeah.
They closed them. And they were planning to close them like weeks before the game even launched. It had nothing to do with the sales of the game. They just didn't want to own this or have anything to do with the studio anymore. So they just closed it.
Pretty cool. Looking cool, Joker.
But yeah, like the whole situation is shady. I would imagine, put people on pause or pause people from trying to work with them again. But I guess money does talk. It seems like they have much more than enough to throw around at times. And with the rate of studios closing down and such like that, people probably don't have much of a choice. but to go to them anyway. But it's kind of crazy to see how they just got rid of the American side of like, all you Americans, get out of here.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see. We're gonna need to try and keep track of like where the big names behind some of these studios are going. Like, I need to know where Casey Hudson's going. I need to know where there's like a couple other people from BioWare who started some stuff. There's a couple people from Bethesda that started stuff that are being affected by this, and I'm gonna need somebody to keep track of like where they're going, because if they're not getting picked up someplace and they're just like retiring, I'll be genuinely pissed, because most of these teams are like new. Like, this was a new initiative that NetEase had started in like 2020 or 2021, and so most of these teams have like not even put out a game yet, and they're like, well, what if you never did? It's like, cool, great, wonderful.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with it. But I will say that the lead, I guess the manager, I forgot his name, he had a very upbeat response to it outside of the bad news, and put out, his people under him put out their like info, or at least the links where they can get in contact with the people who were let go. So, kudos to them, and hopefully they all land on their feet somewhere. And it's sad that we keep coming back to saying that, because we're going to be saying it again soon in a few. Yeah. What else did we have?
We got a sort of a combo pack of 2 PlayStation thing here, real fast. Number one, PlayStation's getting sued by like 3 different countries right now, as the Dutch join the UK and I think Portugal in suing them for manipulating their monopolistic position in the industry to inflate their own prices, and more specifically to not put their stuff on sale anywhere else, or on sale in general, even on their own platform. So if you live in any of those 3 countries, they're trying to get you basically some of your money back, which I think is great. I think that this is just something that's going to, hopefully more countries will join in on this. Our country will not, because our country right now, America, is very pro corporation right now.
I was going to say, didn't they literally just shut down a CFPB that would actually do something like that and look out for that?
Yeah, they did a lot. They've been doing a lot of really dumb things lately. But they're very pro corporation, so America's not going to get on it, so we won't get any of our money back. But what this might do is, like, this may force them to suck less. I don't necessarily think, there's people who are saying like this is going to be just one more straw on like the proverbial camel's back of them like publishing games other places, or even going PC day and date. And I do think that's true. I don't necessarily think it's going to be the one that breaks that back. But I do think that we are going to see a lot of other countries pile in on this. And if anything does come of it, it's not going to be a situation where it's like, oh, well, we're going to publish our games also on like the Epic storefront, but only in Portugal because they sued us. Like, they would just do it everywhere. So that'd be
the big thing that this is suing about is, unlike Steam or Xbox, and I don't know if it's true for Nintendo, but unlike Steam and Xbox, you cannot buy digital codes for games for PlayStation anywhere other than the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
Like you can buy an Xbox Series X game digitally on Amazon, receive your 25 character code, and put it in and redeem it on your Xbox console. Same thing is true with Steam. You can go to like Green Man Gaming or any of those like sites, or like CD Keys or any of those sites, and you can buy a game at a cheaper rate or a more expensive rate than what is being offered on Steam proper. And it makes, within their own ecosystem, they have to compete more with other stores, and PlayStation does not allow this. If you want to buy Alan Wake 2 for your friend on PlayStation, well, guess what? You can't gift it because PlayStation doesn't even have gifting.
Which is crazy.
You have to just Venmo them the money because you cannot buy them a copy. Except I think they just released a physical for that. But like I had to just send my friend a PlayStation gift card for Christmas and buy an Alan Wake 2. So like that's the whole point of this, and this is actually like this is a really good thing to see.
It's interesting that you say that, though, by the way. But
the people are suing?
No, not that.
That's the good thing. That's the great thing.
No, that's a good thing. No, but the storefront.
I'm pro sue.
I'm pro sue too when it comes to that. But no, the whole idea of the other storefronts and such like that, because that goes into the thought that we've had, with how things would work with Microsoft in the future with the whole Steam OS, and you can play your PlayStation games over there. Well, can you? Will Sony allow that? You know what I mean? Like all these kind of things go in my head about that, and also how's it going to work for Microsoft if you're allowing Steam and Epic and whatever and GOG on a platform that people can undercut you for the sale price that you're selling the game for and just get it over there. I wonder how all that plays into it. Just a thought I had just hearing what you said.
Yeah, because like this lawsuit wouldn't be solved by PlayStation releasing games on like GOG, or even if they were releasing their games on Xbox. Because the problem is that on the PlayStation Store, they are the only person who can sell games to over between PS4, PS3, PS4, and PS5, where all those have a digital store. That's you're talking like probably 2 million players. That gets to the point where a lot of countries deem that to be too large of a store to only have one vendor. And that's why a lot of people are going after them, because it's too large of a market to only have one person control. That's why we see people going after like Apple and Google in the EU for the same shit. And it's this is a really good thing that's being that these the countries are doing to force upon not just in gaming but on like Android and iOS as well. Like they need to have competition to drive prices down, because a lot of the prices are higher than they should be.
Yeah. Well, hey, I think we're all, like we said a second ago, we're all pro Sue, so hopefully this works out for them and Sony has to pay up.
I'm not even worried about them owing people money back. I just want them to be forced to actually have to sell their codes on Amazon.
Yeah.
Because like the dividend you're going to get paid back is like $7. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
like it doesn't. That doesn't matter.
But even just doing that, even then, just having to sell digital codes other places,
it's
like that is one more step into them,
Yeah.
like seeing the benefit of being,
well, because it'll eat into their bottom line even further. It will eat into their bottom line even further, and they will, because like I'm generally like put your games everywhere, but like the reason I'm so like Microsoft what the fuck is because no one else is doing it with them.
Yeah.
Which makes it not work.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've been seeing. Wow, that guy's back. That's crazy. He's back.
I was gonna say it sounds like he's returned. Yeah,
he has returned back from McDonald's. You can tell that his car is struggling under the weight of his fat ass and burgers. He's got one of the. I've seen his car. It is a pickup truck. It's one of the ones with the like. We made the muffler bigger so that it really lets you know how small my wangus is. But no, like all I was gonna say is just like it's just one more thing where it's like they're gonna have. I'll be back in a second. Don't worry about me.
He sounds like he some type of monster is there about to get you or something. Tres, what's up, Tres? Tres, how do you say it? Uno, dos, tres. Tres. Yes. What's up, Tres? And Stilo, what's up, Stilo Facts? How you guys doing tonight? So listen, I guess while Danny is gone right now and dealing with the motorcycle gang. Okay, I was gonna say you're dealing with the motorcycle gang. Okay.
Maybe a little bit. It's okay. It's all right. I didn't realize that I lived in the loudest place on the planet. No, all I was saying is like this is just one more point in favor of like. I mean, like Crusader said, it's like Xbox is the only people putting stuff on other platforms right now, at least for like the majority. At a good rate.
Yeah.
Right, because like PlayStation does it with like MLB and some other stuff.
Right.
But this is just one more thing that I think is going to start pushing them in that direction, because we've been seeing like, I mean, people don't. It's weird because like people will report the accurate numbers, but they'll just like put a twist on it where it doesn't feel right. But like Xbox is making a ton of money. Like they are not at like. Them putting their stuff multi-platform has been a great thing for them. Like you're looking at the things that are coming out of them going multi-platform with a lot of their games, and it's like, yeah. So basically, this allows us to double down on making good single-player games. And a combination of Game Pass, because it's like we don't have to dive into this like live service hellhole, because that report that just came out where it was like 40% of time on video games is spent on these 10 games or whatever. Yep. It's like, first of all, Xbox owns 2 of those games, so they're probably doing fine. And then the other part is like through Game Pass, they are basically able to turn all of their other games into another live. Like Game Pass is a live service.
Yeah.
So it's like they've been able to sort of monetize their single player content in that way. And it's also why I think a lot of their games like Avowed and like South of Midnight are able to be smaller things, because they don't necessarily have to worry about like it being this big $1 million thing that's going to bring in, sell 40 million units in the first 6 months. They don't need to worry about that, because all it has to do is be interesting enough to get you to subscribe for another month. And so people are able to be more creative and make more interesting games. But I'm kind of getting off topic. My point is that this is just one more thing where we're looking at the PlayStation financials, and they're still doing okay financially, but it's a little bit less every time. It's a little bit less money every time, and that's not what their shareholders are going to want to see. And when you've got somebody like Hiroki Totoki at the top of your company, who is the money man, he's the guy from Sony, who's like probably looking at the numbers of like, how the hell is Sea of Thieves still one of the best-selling games on our platform? That's stupid. That's fully stupid. It's like, we could be selling our games on these other platforms. We've been putting them on PC, and they're performing like decently well, most of them. Not for some reason Horizon, but like most of them have been doing okay. Like Spider-Man did well over there. God of War did well enough over there. But if we start launching these games on Xbox, like, you can't tell me Spider-Man's not going to sell. I'll buy a copy of Spider-Man on Xbox.
I would absolutely. I would buy both Horizon games again. I would buy the Spider-Man games again. I'd buy the God of War games again. Why? Because I'd rather have Xbox achievements for all.
Listen. It's hard to argue against that. So I definitely feel that.
You cannot tell me that there is not people within PlayStation right now, and we're already hearing rumblings from Jason Schreier, from people who are like big in on these things, where it's like, we are already hearing rumblings that like they are thinking about this. This is a real thing that they're talking about. And I think a lot of it is because they're looking at the numbers that Xbox is making on their platform, and they're going like, well, shit, we want that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. They will have to have like, they'll very quickly do it with Nintendo. Why? Because that is a much larger player base. That's why we already saw them experiment straight up with the Lego Horizon game on Nintendo. It's already happened. Xbox, the debate is this a big enough platform to work with? Or alternatively, if the next Xbox is going to be a PC box, do we even care? Because we can just sell it through Steam, do no additional work, and hit that market anyways. Right?
Yeah.
That's what that'll come to. So like, I don't expect like PlayStation stuff to come to Xbox meaningfully, unless either Microsoft proves everyone wrong and like people really want the hardware because they're gonna do something freaking awesome with it, or they won't bring it natively, but like, it's on Steam, you can play it, we can get those customers, right?
Yeah.
Because like, we're in an era of absolute chaos in the game industry, and we'll talk about that when we get to the Warner Brothers stuff. Absolute chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Up is down, right is left, and people are wearing hats on their asses. Like, none of it makes sense. They're all making it up.
Y'all don't do that? That's weird. That's unusual. I should stop doing that.
Like,
so that's the Texas way.
But like, you know, Nintendo's going to
down,
be a bespoke market, period.
Yeah.
Right? The Switch 2 will be a bespoke market, and they're probably looking at that going, yeah, maybe we do put what we can there. For sure, that's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it works out. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that, Danny?
Oh yeah, the only other thing, because it was like a two-piece of PlayStation news. The other one was that Jeff Grubb and a lot of the insiders are being like, "Hey, PlayStation actually like doesn't have enough content right now to do a summer showcase, so they're probably not going to do one."
Yeah,
it's just like on top of everything else, like
compounded with that.
They're still so far behind with all this stuff.
Yeah, I just wonder how that's going to play out for them in the long run.
I'm telling you, if we don't see Ghost of Yote by like in June, maybe like early July, depending on when like Summer Game Fest ends, like if we don't see it, then that game is not coming out this year.
Yeah,
like I will lay a flag in that stake because it's not good.
You know, maybe if they really continue to be really hurt for content for the next few years, maybe that is another reason, even though Xbox has a smaller base, that they may eventually start porting shit, because it's not that hard to port a game from the PS5 to the Xbox Series.
Especially
like,
it
truly isn't. Especially when they're already on PC, because you already have the DirectX support, right? It's literally optimizing for the Series S. And maybe they look at it and go, well, that port won't take us that long. It won't be that expensive. Maybe we just do it to cut over some cost in the in-between with some of our shit. Now, maybe not the biggest, most important stuff, but maybe they experiment with it that way too. Again, I think we're going to be in for a period of nothing makes sense, nothing we expect. Holy crap, weird announcements that we're like, huh? For the next while.
Yeah, it's going to be a minute. It's going to be a minute. That's the thing I wonder, because it brings off two thoughts. One is, is Xbox going to become more dominant on PlayStation itself as far as gaming?
Absolutely.
And that's one. And two,
Absolutely.
Was Microsoft's strategy to switch to what they've done here now, was that the wrong move? Because now, you get the hindsight thought like, well, Sony is absolutely faltering on that end. Would it have been best for Microsoft if they kind of stayed the course and not put their games elsewhere like that?
I
think they should have gone slower, but I think that they should have gone slower this whole freaking time.
Yeah, maybe slower would have been the correct answer. That might be fine, but you can't. PlayStation doing badly right now is not going to sell more Xboxes because the issue right now is that people just don't have much. Like, the economy is bad everywhere. Money. Like America, like people don't want to talk about it. America's economy is actually doing better than most of the planet right now.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not right now, but at least recently.
Right.
Yeah.
Up until those tariffs started, like we were doing pretty good in comparison to the rest of the planet.
Yeah.
Like. But even then, like, we're feeling the squeeze. Like, we don't have the money to drop another $400, $500 on a console. We just don't. And so, like PlayStation not putting out content of their own, it's not going to get people right in this climate right now. It's not going to get people to switch over to an Xbox. But if you're Xbox and you're like, well, we're feeling the squeeze too, we need to sell these games, then yeah, go ahead, put it over there. And if we get into a situation where, like, all these rumors are saying that they're going to launch a new console next year, maybe 2027, probably 2027, I think at this point, but like, before PlayStation is the pertinent point here, then what you're going to start seeing is, like, when they do that, if we're in a better place economically, globally, whatever, that it might be the case, then maybe, like, when we launch this new Xbox, maybe we don't put everything on PlayStation for a little while, right? And then we see, like, hey, does that affect our sales? Can we get, like, a little bit more of a foothold there?
Right.
I think that's something more interesting. And then you start seeing the situation of, like, you're putting your games on PlayStation right now, and you're proving to people, like, we do have games. We're good at games. We make games real good.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, like, and now I want you over here to play them. And that might be a thing where, like, you drag people over to your side. But even if you don't do that, people probably will still buy more Xboxes those first couple of years at least until PlayStation gets one out, just to be like,
yeah,
well, this is the new thing. This is where the best place to play these things are. If you can come in at a half decent price point, like,
I'm wondering about that.
Do pretty well.
I don't think they. I
There's
think,
so
I don't
much
think they're going to
weird-
subsidize. I think it's going to be pretty pricey.
There's so much weird digital lock-in and things like that nowadays that I think they're gonna go more of the route of, like, look at all of this crap on PC that Xbox can, that, like, you can play in addition to your Xbox, like, library. And they truly are gonna go this route of, like, the Xbox only kind of exists for as a vehicle to play Xbox games. Like, I don't think they're gonna recede. And I think that much like TV in 2013, that they jumped into this wagon too early.
Prematurely, huh? Yeah.
That a lot of the way that everyone who's not Nintendo is going to go in the games industry is putting your game on as many freaking devices as possible, whether you're a third party or Xbox or PlayStation, and getting as many things on there as possible. It's just Microsoft, like they always are too early to the party, and as soon as anyone gets there, they look at all the ways that Microsoft failed and then catch up instantly and pull ahead.
But that's my thing, is, like,
that is the Microsoft playbook.
You're not entirely wrong, but I think where that gets off track is that, like, I think we view those things as a failure, but in reality, like, the rest of the industry ends up following them for a reason. It's because when they do things like that,
it works. But then,
works.
like, yeah, but
it
then,
makes them
like,
more money.
Microsoft did all of the, like, QA for them and all of the, like, this is what you don't do, and then they're just more successful with it.
Yeah, well, but
Right?
but they're the only ones in the industry who can take those risks. If PlayStation does something like that,
Right.
and they have to eat shit
You're
for 2 years,
100%.
then PlayStation, then Sony is dead.
100%.
And we just saw the earnings calls even for the end of year, and, like, Nintendo is not making the money that we thought that they were making.
No.
So, like, even Nintendo, I don't think can make a move like that and risk that.
Agreed.
But Microsoft's
Agreed.
they got that cash. They've got the the Office suite and Windows paving the money vault for them, where they can be like, we're gonna try some stuff, and if it works, great.
If not, we'll be fine. Yeah.
I would be all on board for everything they're doing if they had concrete information about their next hardware, like a genuine concrete information for me.
I'm sure they know.
It's
like,
hopefully, God,
like
hopefully.
that's just so frustrating.
It's the
Like-
the thought that you might not have one that at least they might not have an next gen console. That's what's really getting to you. You would say?
Yeah, always.
What's up,
Well,
Dusty?
they keep saying that there's gonna be one.
They
like,
keep
at a certain
saying
point, we
that
just
there's
have to
gonna
take
be
them at
one,
their
but
word
like
on
they
it.
kept saying there was gonna be another Windows phone too. Like,
Yeah.
Sure, but like then we're
Fucking-
also getting the reports. Like Jess Gordon just said, like
yeah,
you know that
just-
they've like gone past the pitching phase and now they're like actually starting
Yeah.
to like produce it basically.
I'm pretty
Satya
I'm pretty
Nadella-
confident that there will be a next gen console. Pretty confident.
I am too.
Yeah.
But Satya Nadella exists as a human.
That
and
is true.
makes me incredibly nervous with any Microsoft related product.
Look,
Because
I'd rather
either he
have him
gets
than
fully
Zaslav.
behind it, or he's like, I'm fully behind it with a knife to kill it.
That's the problem, right? And I would have rather have him than Zaslav too. But I that's the problem in this whole equation, because the same thing I said about Phil. People are like, "Oh, Phil, he lied. He betrayed us, and he's got the games." I don't think the move that they're making now was Phil's decision. I think that was Satya's vision that we're seeing right now, where the games are everywhere. Honestly, so that's where I hear you at. Where I'm like, we saying this,
I'm
but
like-
maybe he might just do what you say and say,
I
"Fuck it."
want to be totally behind what they're doing because I actually agree with it. I just don't think that they're doing it very well.
Yeah,
That's
but
fair.
let-
I think that's correct. Yeah.
let me ask you: do you guys then? Let me ask this: do you think then that maybe Microsoft is playing a bit of a Trojan horse game, and they're getting these games over there, and the gamers over there are going to start loving it? I've even seen some of our Hoove brothers who have been loving Avowed. I'm talking about giving it high praise.
Yeah.
And
Or giving it low praise, but then every time you see them, they're playing.
They're playing it.
We're still playing it. Though. We
Right.
got 40 hours in. The game.
Exactly.
That's crazy. What's happening?
You got some frauds out there. But like, would you think though that maybe what's up, Live Supremacy? Maybe that could be the thing that they're playing the long game and conditioning these gamers with the great games and game releases over there, and maybe Sony would either capitulate and say, you know what, we can't put out games the way you do. We'll allow Game Pass over here. Do you think that could be a bit of that Trojan horse they may be going for?
No, because that'll cut
possible,
into Sony's bottom line too much. What they are going for, I think, is to become Mr. Good Guy in the sphere of the market, to try and maybe force regulators to force Sony to open up. Like,
I'll be honest with you. I don't know that they even really want Game Pass on PlayStation. I think that they want PlayStation games on Xbox. I don't necessarily. I think that they want both of those things.
Yeah, I think both.
I
sure.
think that they. I think that they want Game Pass to be listed on as many devices as they physically can without any resistance. And I think that they want as many units of software releasing on their platforms as they physically can to take a 30% cut.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that these are mutually exclusive in competing things.
Yeah.
Right?
I think they go in tandem. Player had says that how can Microsoft get their gaming business, turn their gaming business rather, from $22 billion business to $30 billion? You go multi-platform.
You go correct. And I think that's
100%.
what everyone's going to see. It's just going to be, how do you go multi-platform without hemorrhaging the marketplace where you take 30% of the cut on a game you didn't make?
Yeah.
How do you not kill that? And that's why I say Microsoft is going too fast and is moving the wrong franchises at the wrong time. Like, I would have reached out to Remedy and I would have been like, release Quantum Break everywhere, right?
Yeah.
This is fair.
But Quantum Break was a good game that the PlayStation market would love.
Yeah.
Based on like what it is and who made it.
Maybe they need to get like Sony and remaster that and come bring it back out.
But
I
I
would
would
have gone to the
argue-
Ori devs. I would have put Ori
Oh,
on
yeah.
PlayStation.
Is it not?
No,
That's honestly surprising.
it's on Nintendo.
It's on
Yeah,
it's on
it's
Nintendo
definitely-
for sure.
And
there's a chance of an Ori 3 now, by the way.
Like-
so happy about that, by the way.
Hey, yo.
I would have been courting every third-party developer and saying, yeah, straight, because then they're kind of doing this. But I would have straight up all of the third-party developers that they're publishing. I would have gone straight to them and been like, yeah, nope, we'll publish on every platform you want.
Hmm.
And they're kind of doing that, right? Like, that's how the next Ninja Gaiden's gonna be. That's how
Yeah.
like a few things, like. And I would have taken Forza, and I would have straight up been upfront with people and been like, Forza has so many licensing fees, we're putting it everywhere. Because Forza does have so many
Yeah.
licensing
Well,
fees.
Definitely.
that's what I was
And-
gonna say is because that's the only one where I can think of where I can even see people arguing like, oh, that's too big, it shouldn't have gone over. But like that's the thing about the Forza games is they have a shelf life. Like they don't stay on the marketplace that long because of those licensing, which is crazy,
and they owe money to everyone because of it.
Yeah.
Like the margins are smaller on a Forza game. I would have straight up been like, yep, we know that's an IP that's beloved to our Xbox fans, but we're gonna move this one first because of all of these licensing fees and because of how great it is when so many people are playing together on it.
That's why Xbox is going to get Spider-Man.
Right, and I would have
going to happen
because they could have framed this in a very positive way. They could have framed it in like a very well. We can attract more third-party devs if we do it, and they could have gradually gotten everyone to accept it in a more positive way, but they didn't. They just threw shit at the wall.
I mean, here's the thing: is like I hear you, and I don't necessarily think you're wrong, but I think what we also need to acknowledge is like. It doesn't matter how Xbox does anything; it's going to be met with bullshit.
It is going to be met with bullshit.
They could literally cure diseases, and people would be like,
"Yep,
yeah, but I don't like the way the medicine tastes." You know what
I
mean?
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. But like they didn't even attempt to put up like, anything. Like Sea of Thieves made sense because like so many people playing together.
Right.
I was a little skeptical of that one at first, but like.
That's arguably the biggest success they've had with this whole thing.
They renegotiated Indiana Jones, and then unrenegotiated it. Like what?
Yeah.
That might also be them licensing fees you're talking about.
It's definitely
right. Like Indiana Jones, if they had never relicensed it and were like, "Yep, we're gonna do this day one" because of the license, I would have been like, "Cool, makes sense to me."
But also, we were never supposed to know that they did that.
Yeah.
They didn't tell us that.
That's true.
Jason Schreier.
You're not wrong.
You're
not wrong. You're not wrong with that. But they did tell us it in court. We knew.
Yeah, the court case exposed a lot. What's up, Max City? What's up, It's Finn? Listen, so I do want to move us forward though.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of Microsoft, Danny, do you have the one with Tom Warren about the GDC situation?
I have it on here, but I think you have more data on it than I do.
Well, I don't have a ton of it, but let me read up on it, or read it.
It's just basically they're going to be at GDC, and all the rumors are that they're going to be showing off that OS for the handheld and
exactly.
That's going to be sick if they do.
Yeah.
Sick if they do.
So Microsoft pushes ahead with AI in gaming. I'm reading from Tom Warren, The Verge. Listen, I'm going to say this quickly because we got to move past it because I know if I stop on it, you and Danny
That's
will
all
both...
I need to say about AI.
Yeah, because I know how you both feel on the AI situation, but if we stop on it, we'll be on it all night. So Microsoft's Muse model is just the start of the company's AI experiments for Xbox, he says. Microsoft might... Oh, come on, pop-ups. Get out of here. It says it really pop up? It's just stuck on my screen now. Okay. Microsoft might say, it's still doing it.
It wants you to buy whatever it is.
It's like continue reading Notepad with the Verge subscription. Do I have to subscribe to read this article?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, damn you, Tom Warren.
Notepad is part of his newsletter.
Oh no, I got a little fix around that.
Which, to be fair, I'm gonna give him credit because he puts in high quality effort into doing that, and like print media is dying.
Yeah,
I respect it, but I'm not paying for it.
Yeah,
I'm also not paying for it. But like him and Steven Tolatillo, like I have to respect the fact that they are fighting to stay alive and actually doing good reporting.
Yep. Okay, I found it. There is a way around that, which I just found. So Microsoft might say its top priority right now is security, but it's been clear for months now that AI is just as important. The odd division out has been Xbox, which hasn't discussed its use of AI much in public, but that changed last week when Microsoft ripped the Band-Aid off and waded somewhat clumsily into the debate over AI in gaming. Last Wednesday, Microsoft revealed Muse, its new AI model that can generate gameplay. It was trained on Ninja Theory's Xbox game Bleeding Edge, and it can understand a 3D world and physics and then respond to players' interactions. While Muse is a Microsoft research project at heart, Microsoft presented it in a way that linked it directly to Xbox and the future of the company's gaming efforts. That has divided opinion between those who argue that Microsoft will use this model to build games and lay off developers, which I believe could happen as well.
Yep.
And others who think this is still very early and simply another tool in the game developer's kit. I've been speaking to game developers over the past week to get a better understanding of the response to Muse. Of the handful I've spoken to, no one is willing to speak on record for reasons like career concerns and the potential impact speaking out might have on game deals with Xbox. Most echo what David Goldfarb, that's an unfortunate last name, developer and founder of the Outsiders, posted on X last week. He said, fuck this shit. to keep it succinctly, Goldfarb expanded on that brief response in an interview with Wired. He says, when we rely on this stuff, we are implicitly empowering a class of people who own those tools and don't give a fuck about how they reshape our lives, he said. And that's fair. I'll wrap it up quickly. So I believe this whole GDC thing is not only for them to kind of break ground on what the Muse can do. I'm expecting them to showcase some gameplay, possible, or game clips of what Muse can build with the AI. It's also rumors of the OS. There's been rumors of the OS being shown there for the next gen console or for their next, I guess, project of the Xbox being everywhere, right? So there is rumors of that. Now, that's the part I'm really interested in. I will say, just as a futurist and technologist person in me, I guess, if you want to call it that, or that part of me does want to see what Muse can do, but obviously not at the expense of talent in real life, living talent. Although I say that as a prelude to say, I, for one, welcome our AI overlords in case you do take over.
Hey, Umbra.
I'm willing to be one of your human, I don't want to say the word, but it's Black History Month, but you get what I mean. Yeah.
Hey, Umbra.
What's up?
Umbra,
Yeah.
this is all I need to say about Muse.
It's
brother.
It could be neat. It won't, but it could.
It's an interesting conversation. Like, it probably, more likely than not, it'll end up kind of being nothing. I feel like that's what a lot of these things end up being, just at the end of the day. I've talked to a couple of devs about, like, well, what does AI mean to you? And there is concern about, like, what does this mean for people's jobs and all that stuff. Obviously, we're already seeing layoffs regardless, and we ain't even started to use AI yet. So here we are. But at the same time, another thing that they're saying pretty often is, like, it will speed us up. Like, it is going to allow us to iterate things a lot faster. And that's probably a good thing, because the number one thing that's ballooning the cost of these games is how long it is taking to get these things done.
Yep.
So
if they can make an AI that actually optimizes this shit, fucking fantastic.
yeah, and it's like there is a realm where this is a good thing, but I feel like there's gonna have to be a realm for a while beforehand where it is a bad thing before we get there. And so I think we're just like, it's gonna suck, but we're not gonna stop them from doing it.
And that's the thing.
But it's gonna suck ass for a minute. I guarantee it. But we'll get to a place where it doesn't suck ass.
It's gonna suck, and it might cost talent. That's the problem. Is that we know that ultimately in a game of corporations, they're going to go for their bottom dollar, and that means talent will go away if this can replace it. And so, because like people have this weird thought, even in politics, well, the rich person is going to look out for the little poor man. No, they're not.
Fuck, no.
Microsoft is absolutely going to get rid of people if they can use this thing to do what that person could do. So that there is a danger there. We can't just ignore.
At this point,
if they show off that new OS though, or alternatively, if they show off like Jason Ronald was kind of talking about, a little bit at CES,
with the handheld, right? Yeah.
Well, no, he talked about in an interview with Tom Warren at CES about your Xbox library and your PC library bridging the gap, so that's one and the same.
Yeah.
Right, so that your Xbox games all play on PC, containerized, and like they show off something like that. I will declare we are so fucking back.
We are back
at the highest peak we have ever been back. Because at this point, I'm happy because everything I've freaking purchased, all protected.
And I know that you yourself have like 1,000 some odd games on Xbox.
Yes. So between what I have with Game Pass and what I own, I have access to 1,200 games on Xbox.
Yeah.
I'm
in the 600 to 700 range.
600 is 600 to 700.
Okay, so we're about the same. Okay.
Yeah. But I have save files in a lot of those Game Pass games, and like that's not all that is transferable.
Good point.
And so you know, it's all kind of like if you show me that my stuff is protected and Xbox everywhere actually means Xbox, all my Xbox crap everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And I think that's the plan. I think that's what they're definitely going to do. They're aware. They're not.
I think it's the concept of a plan.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Oh
I think
no.
it's the idea of a
Oh
plan
no.
that could be.
they got
But, like,
they got concepts of
Like, I need to see
backward compatibility.
right?
Is that what you're telling me?
I need to truly see it.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. I hear you.
I need to
I think that's
see
fair.
it to believe it at this point because of how radical the changes they're making.
Yeah.
But if they show that at CES, you will see me crown myself the king of crazy people.
Now I've seen
Right.
you even
I'll be
speaking
happy.
out on that on Twitter. You talked
I've been
about
very
that.
upset about it.
Yeah, you've
but
been vocal
I'm
about
upset
it.
because of the lack of transparency, the lack of actual details.
Mm-hmm.
You give me actual details. You give me the real roadmap of what the future looks like,
Mm-hmm.
and I will believe this plan.
And
But there
yeah.
is not enough there to believe the plan, and I'm just kind of like, show up or shut the fuck up and stop.
Phil
like,
is
Yeah.
Phil and team are like, I have a
Yeah.
plan. Red
Yeah.
Dead
I have the
Redemption 2
concepts of a plan.
style. Right. Yeah.
I hear you, and I think you're right. At this point right now, and I'm also kind of a pessimist at the moment.
Yeah, it's
but
hard not to be.
at the moment right now, like I'm not particularly feeling great about the plans going forward of like really anybody in the game space.
Right.
The only company that I feel comfortable, like the only company in video games where I'm like 100% will still exist 10 years from now is Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's the only one where I'm like, they will still exist and still be making video games 10 years from now because they're the ones who are making the money. They're the ones who are making.
Yeah, it's like, will they have a hardware platform? Will they even
Right.
have?
Who knows? Who
like-
knows? But
like
they will
anything.
still be making.
They will
video
be
games.
making games.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can't necessarily say that for PlayStation because they're like one or two big mistakes away from like Apple buying them and then Apple being like, I don't want this really, and then selling it, or like Nintendo. Who knows? Like I thought they were doing great, and then we saw the money they were making. It's like I don't know, and I don't think the Switch 2 is going to sell the way the Switch 1 did. I just don't.
I think Nintendo will be relatively fine because
I
we're
think
in
they're
that
probably
weird
fine.
period where everyone knows the next console is coming, so you don't really want to buy the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that they'll actually be
Tapering off a
just
bit.
fine.
yeah.
Unless they Wii U themselves somehow. And I don't think they're gonna Wii U themselves.
I don't
But
think
if
they'll
they
Wii U
do that,
themselves.
I
But it-
don't like.
Yeah, but I also think weirdly, I think part of it, we're kind of off topic now. I think part of the reason why the Switch 1 sold so well is because of the Wii U, because people were like,
Yeah.
oh, the Switch, there's like a new Nintendo console that's good again. Like, okay, I'll buy it. And they didn't buy the Wii U. So I think, I mean, between plus the tariffs, plus the facts of like
Yeah.
all these other things going on in the world right now, it's like, I don't think the
It's
Switch
gonna
2
be
has
be a time of made up and nothing matters.
yeah,
Like
I don't think the
everything
Switch
is gonna
2
be topsy turvy.
I don't think it stands a chance of selling the same way the Switch did, at least at launch. Like
Not
maybe
for a
long
little
term.
while.
but,
Maybe
like,
yeah. Maybe not initially, but
we're gonna
I've
see
gotten
those numbers and we're
past
gonna be like, ooh.
Maybe
Nintendo.
Nintendo
The
can
way they
save
sell
us.
stuff when it comes to the consoles and some that there are no first party games, at least some of them.
Oh,
at
yeah, yeah,
least.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
like I don't doubt them because they surprise
Yeah.
us all the time. Like, oh, look how many hundreds of millions this sold. It's like, all right,
they apparently, based on the numbers we just got, they make the least money. They make less
That's
money
crazy.
apparently than Xbox and PlayStation, which is insane.
it is
But
insane.
they have
38
the
million
highest-
copies of sold of one game, and
Yeah.
they make the least of.
Isn't that crazy?
It
it's because
is.
they don't have live service really.
Yeah,
But they have the highest percentage of like, what's it like? revenue?
MAUs?
Is that what it is?
Oh.
Like their return on their investment is highest because they don't spend $4 billion making
Right.
a Spider-Man or like licensing
So,
Indiana
yeah.
Jones or whatever.
I see. What
Like
you're
they
saying.
they make a
Correct.
higher percentage of profit
They're-
over all their stuff, so they're probably fine. Like they are
Their profit margins are
percentage
insane.
wise,
Insane,
percentage wise,
yeah.
they are the most successful of
Yeah.
the companies.
Yes.
But it's just you look at the numbers and you're like, that's a little sad, but like they're doing fine.
Yeah.
They're okay.
The amount of money that they put in versus the amount of money that they get out is ludicrous. And I think it's only going to get better because everyone and their mother wants to support the Switch too. Like third party wise. I mean, like Microsoft is going to be
Oh, yeah,
releasing
yeah,
more games on the Switch 2 than Nintendo is.
That's- yeah.
Well, they're
But
making
like,
more
and
games than
Nintendo's going
anybody,
to
so-
instantly start getting 30% from everyone and their mother who's trying to port all their old games to the Switch 2. And so I think that that alone is going to just be like, again, even more just raw. This is money that we're just getting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, effortless. Yeah. Okay, we'll see how it plays out. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm even interested in getting the Switch this time. I didn't have a Switch. I have family that has it, so I could use theirs, but I personally don't own it. I never saw the use of owning one. But the Switch 2,
Metroid Dread.
yeah, I've heard. Well, let me shut up. Nintendo, we respect you.
You're gonna set off MJ.
Yeah, right. Let me shut my mouth before they come for me because Nintendo doesn't play about their games. Yeah, but I'm gonna buy the Switch 2 though. Definitely. They should have named it the Super Switch like everybody kept saying though. That's a missed opportunity.
I mean,
No, that's a Wii U waiting to happen. Everyone will think it's like a PS4 Pro.
You think so? I don't think so, man. I think
people are
they're
idiots.
informed.
People got dumber. People have gotten dumber since the Super Nintendo.
That
okay?
is true.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I also do kind of worry about that a little bit with the Switch too, because I think visually it doesn't distinguish itself enough.
You're not wrong.
I think people are gonna look at the box and they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, my son's got that."
Listen, Microsoft somehow managed to sell like 30 million copies of the Xbox Series X or an S Series S, the dumbest naming convention I've ever heard that confuses everyone who's not all the normies. So like, and like the parents of the normies. So
Yeah.
I think they'll be fine.
I think that one gets away with it though because of the visual distinction. Because people could be like, "Do I want
You're
the
not
little
wrong.
weak white one or the big strong black one?"
How do you actually make a handheld
that-
significantly
yeah,
different
that's the
without
way you
like
do it.
ruining the ergonomics?
Yeah, I still remember people making a big fuss about that. Like, oh,
Like,
the grandmother's going to be confused when trying to get the game
They-
for Jimmy.
The PSP, the PS Vita, the all of the handheld PCs, they all look kind of the same.
Yeah, and a lot of them are very similar.
Because there's only really one way to make it look.
Yeah, at least to make it the functioning way, right?
Right.
I mean, they have some, obviously, you can take off the Joy-Cons on the ends and such, and, but yeah, ultimately, they all look very similar. And some have bigger screens, too, to be fair. But yeah. Yeah, that said, let's move forward. How many more do we have, Danny? Because we do have to get to the main topics. Before. Oh, you know what? I do have those other games to showcase, too, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How?
You do the showcase games, then we can just talk about Warner Brothers.
Okay. Did you have any other ones, Danny, or any pressing
No, that's
ones?
it. That's all. I mean, other than those 3 games that got announced like last second there.
Okay, cool. So let me switch to 2 games that were recently shown, or at least leaked. One was leaked and then shown, and this should have volume. Guys in the chat, if you hear this, please let me know so you can. I want to make sure that you guys can hear this.
Only seen Avowed on my end.
Haven't been out here in a long time.
Yeah,
Jesus, you're too young to remember activation day.
this
Is
Yeah.
OBS being dumb and bad?
it switched off my it switched off the browser. I had it set to. There we go. Okay, I got it. There it is. Footage was captured in game.
Haven't been out here in a long time. Jesus, you're too young to remember activation day. It's an ambush! Fall back! Fall back! We need reinforcements. Echo Bravo Charlie Tiger. Reinforcements now!
And let me tell you that fancy haircuts and TV ads is not the life of a PMC.
Senor La Vegas Group, welcome.
Even if we don't have an invasion, let me show you a revolution.
Black John is asking, wait, what's this?
Black John, this is La Quimera, which our good brother Crusader has informed me means the Chimera.
I have it on good authority.
I have
that
it
means
on-
the exact same word I just said.
To fucking move.
I believe it's Spanish for a whale's vagina.
La Quimera. And
Um,
yeah. This looks actually really good. You know what? It has a bunch of fusions in there. I mean, you can definitely see the DNA from their Metro games in it. The odd human faces are still something they need to fix, I think. But the gameplay looks like it's going to be really fun. It has a cyberpunkish kind of feel to some of it in a way. What do you guys think of thoughts on this right here?
I just want to explain to chat that this is being made by what was formerly called 4A Games Ukraine. They split from 4A Games Malta, which is the main 4A Games studio that makes Metro. They split a long time ago, and this is their first game that they've made. So these were some of the people that worked on Metro, but the original creators of Metro are still at 4A Games Malta. I think that this game looks great, but I also don't believe it'll ever release.
Mo says
I
this game looks
completely
ass.
agree. I don't think it looks ass. That's crazy. That's out of pocket. Time yourself out. I think
Yeah.
it looks like a good game, but
It
me
feels
and
like
my
a
friend
Bandit
Christian. Yeah, me and my friend Christian, we have a term for games like this where we see trailers like this and we go, "That's a fake ass game," because because I agree 100% with Crusader. That shit's not coming out. I would love for it to, but I look at it and I'm like, that's not happening. And if it does come out, it ain't gonna look like that when it does.
Why do you guys
It
feel
is-
like it could be fake or it won't come out? I don't know.
Ingrained pessimism.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, that'll do it.
The big flag to me is that it's PC only.
Yeah.
That they're only advertising it for Steam. They aren't advertising it for any consoles. They aren't even saying that it will come to generic consoles in the future. Like they just said PC, and like that's a big kind of red flag for me with a game of this kind of scale in this day and age. Unless you get in Sony money to be exclusive,
Yeah.
which they're not getting from Steam because they're not even getting from Epic Games because it's going the PC platform they announced for is Steam. But like, man, that gives off Metro vibes. That gives off what if Killzone Shadowfall was good vibes. And this is coming from someone who liked Killzone 2 and 3. Shadowfall was bleh. But like, and like, I love Eurojank FPSs. I love the Metro games.
Yeah.
Like, you give me some weird shit that some like developer made in their basement from like Eastern Europe, and I will play the shit out of it because it's probably some kind of weird and great. This is that vibe. I would love this if it releases.
I don't listen. Let me read a bit up on it, and then I'll say this. This I think is the reason why they don't have a release date and they haven't promised anything to any developer. Maybe they're fishing for either Sony or Microsoft to back them. That's one I would say, and I would expect Microsoft to do it just based off past relationships. But also two, let me read this. It says developers behind the Metro franchise, Metro 2033, Last Light, and Exodus will no longer be known as 4A Games Ukraine. You can call them Reburn now, a rebranding that arrives alongside the reveal of the Ukrainian team's new story-driven sci-fi shooter, La Quimera. The developer's new game is available to wishlist on Steam, but does not have a release date. See, since it doesn't have a release date, that's why I guess that's why they were kind of forced to put this out, as we all know, or at least we know, because somebody leaked the game to the public.
So it was supposed to be announced today the entire time.
Oh,
someone
so it was
accidentally broke the embargo for it, and the news article went live early.
I see.
Now, they may be putting this up to try and seek investors.
Mm-hmm.
And Big Mad Joe, if it can't run on console, it can't run on 95% of PCs that exist.
probably true. Yeah.
Mm.
Like the
Unfortunately.
most common graphics card still on the market is the 6 gig 1060. And if
sells.
we're only just now getting the 2060 as the minimum support for games. We've only had like 5 games total that have required a 2060 as the minimum. So like, no, it wouldn't be a viable product from a random Ukrainian studio to only release on high-end PCs. That is not a viable product.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what they spent on it to make it too, though, right? Like,
Right.
yeah.
It's not going to be a viable product to only release, because like the consoles, it is still hard to get a PC for
Oh.
the price of the consoles even used right now.
You know what I just thought? Because
What?
this might be for next gen.
It could be.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. It could be. I would believe that.
Yeah, that's probably.
I
But
look
they
at
don't
it.
even say coming to PC and consoles. Like a lot of
Yeah,
times they'll
that's
just
true.
generically say consoles.
That's true. That is true.
Right?
Yeah. Could just be a matter of poor marketing on that part, but
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be.
But you're right. They do typically will say console, so they're not saying that at all. And I didn't know that until you guys alerted me to it. I'm like, that's weird. But
yeah.
I would be of the mind that it's because of they don't have a release date, so I'm expecting this to release possibly next gen. Looking at some of the steals, the imagery,
It looks great.
It's a good looking game, so I'm almost expecting it to be a next gen release, and next gen will probably be in the probably
The 3
mid
to 4
30s.
years from now.
Yeah, in a 30 series kind of, if we make a comparison. The 30 series of NVIDIA cards possibly in that area.
No, I would probably 40, because again, you're probably aiming more towards 40 series at this point, 40 or 50.
Ooh.
And the reason I say that is we're like, well, Microsoft, I don't know, if Microsoft's coming out in like in next year or 2 years, then yeah, 30 series maybe.
Okay.
PlayStation, which kind of publicly hinted at the fact that the 2028 2029 is the reasonable area, you're looking more for 40 and 50, again, just because of like when that kind of stuff happens.
Right.
And
we're saying this with the NVIDIA, even though we know AMD is the card.
yeah, well,
but
yeah,
of course, yeah.
who the fuck knows what the NVIDIA or the AMD cards are called? I don't.
They always
They're not-
confuse me. Yeah, you get the 9070 820 XTX. I'm like, the what? And then
AMD, there's only one company that names things worse than Microsoft, or 2 companies that name things worse than Microsoft, right? It's Square Enix with the Kingdom Hearts franchise,
yeah.
and it's AMD with their CPUs and GPUs. The names are just bad.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't like 358 over 2 days? You didn't like that one?
I literally call it Kingdom Hearts bunch of days.
Bunch
you
of
didn't,
days.
You didn't like Kingdom Hearts key, but we use the Greek letter that no one knows is called key.
Brother, the amount of ways that I can fit the word key into one sentence when talking about Kingdom Hearts, and I'm using key as in the Greek word. Oh my god. Don't get me started. It won't stop. But like, what, 0.2 final prologue, I love those games.
Final Mix Prologue
But
Remix.
The
Yeah.
names are so
The naming
bad.
conventions are
Let me see
weird.
if I can find that actual thing. Hold on.
But yeah,
You know,
like,
I've noticed that though with a lot of our Japanese brothers. I've noticed that they have very weird naming conventions for some of the
Oh, it's
products.
bad.
it's
yeah,
fine.
it's
There's
like-
nothing
It's
wrong
fun, but
with
it's
it.
bad.
But
Yeah,
and
it's like
you
it's
know,
very long-winded. The name some of the stuff has. Like, did we need to know all those names? Or yeah,
I joke about it with Square Enix because the names are so bad, but it doesn't really matter. I actually genuinely despise both AMD and Microsoft for naming things in the worst, most confusing way that is not necessary.
what would you guys feel about the next Xbox being called Xbox Prime? Has been rumored.
I think that's
that's
just
fine.
the code name, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
don't even
is,
think.
yeah.
It was a purported code name
Mhm.
that Jez Corden was like, no. So I'm just kind of like, I don't.
I genuinely think at this point the most likely version, because they're gonna do a
They're gonna
series,
call
like
it
a Series
Xbox-
X and S thing again.
They're
I think
gonna
there's
call
a
it-
solid chance that it's just literally called X2 S2. I think that there's a solid chance.
It's either that or they'll call it Microsoft 365 Xbox Copilot New.
Yeah. Listen, I saw that and I saw the Xbox Prime. I'm like, I like that.
Yeah.
So chances are it's not going to
Yeah,
be named anywhere near
Yeah,
that.
but
Right, exactly. Yeah,
But they call
like,
it
Prime
Xbox
would
Prime
be
is gonna
fine,
be
but it's
sponsored by
not going
Logan
to be.
Paul.
Yeah. The Xbox Chimera.
Chimera.
Yeah, but listen. So let's move forward to the next game that was shown, or at least teased. Hold on one second.
That's about.
And this right here is from one of my favorite studios, and one of the studios actually during that whole frenzy of Microsoft buying and acquiring studios. One of the studios I would have liked them to get. I actually didn't care for them to get ABK. I was happy they got them because I knew it meant that it was going to be a lot of influx of money, which will help fund what we want, right? But ABK was never the game I was like, yeah, get ABK, Microsoft.
Steel was a gift from the gods. But these are dark times. The Queen's spell has turned steel to stone and left her army unmatched.
Did he drop or did I drop? I still hear you.
Yeah, I can still hear you guys.
Only you.
Oh, okay. You just like cut off weird. I thought maybe you like dropped out.
Oh, I thought I was being like cinematic, how I stopped so the game could play.
Oh no, I was genuinely concerned for a second. I thought your internet died.
I saw the trailer for this game today, and it looks badass.
Yeah.
And I've heard the name Mercury Steam before, and someone's gonna yell at me, and I'm instantly gonna know the game that they made. But like,
My Metroid Dread.
oh, they were the Metroid Dread devs.
Yes.
Those are your guys.
Oh, hell yeah!
They were the reason
I'm here
Buzz
day
went.
one.
Oh no.
I had to name it because you named them earlier. You said Metroid Dread, so I'm like, I gotta say it.
Oh, I love Metroid Dread. One of my favorite games. Didn't even know.
Nintendo, with Nintendo, like Nintendo doesn't even like tell you who makes their games now.
No, you're
So
I know,
like,
right?
you know,
This
when it
looks
comes-
so damn good to me.
this looks really great.
I love it, man.
I just hope it's because it's an action RPG, but I hate the trend of all of the games being Souls-like that don't have difficulties, or if you change the difficulty, you fucking can't get achievements anymore.
Yeah.
I like tuning my games to be as mind-rottingly difficult if I'm enjoying the difficulty, or making them easier based on the game. And I guess that's my fear with any game like this, is that like I'm not going to be able to tune the difficulty. Because this screams that it could be like hype hack and slash, or that it could be like locked Souls-like. But like, man, this looks really good.
It looks like a bit of a hack and slash. I don't see all the way Souls-like. It has elements for the
you're
back,
right,
the
you're
over the
right.
shoulder, but it looks more free, right?
I'm seeing the character designs are what's screaming
Elements
like
of it.
From Sposs inspiration.
I can see that. Yeah.
Eldritch horrors beyond my comprehension.
Yeah. One thing that's interesting too is that their design DNA crosses over no matter what they do.
Yeah.
Because you look at some of their other games, and one of their other big games that you would know of is Castlevania.
Yep.
They made the Castlevania
Lords of the Fallen?
Lords of the Fallen.
Okay.
And that guy right there looks just like my man that you play as in Lords of the Fallen. I don't want to give anything away for those who may not have played it, so I'm not going to say it.
It's on my backlog.
Yeah. Oh, you see, perfect. I'm glad I didn't say anything.
But I own they're installed right now.
Great games.
Lords of the Fallen is the second one, right?
Which one was the Castlevania? Which one was?
Well,
the
no,
second?
I mean because there's like Lord.
No,
of the
sorry,
Fallen,
there's different
and then
games. It's Castlevania. There's Castlevania something.
Lords of
something.
Shadow and
Lords of
Oh,
Shadow.
Lords
yeah.
of Shadow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about that Souls like that's like slow.
No.
as horse shit.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
that was me mixing up the names in my
Yeah.
head because I'm an
Okay.
idiot.
Because I was just sitting here and I was like, I'm glad you guys
No,
like that
no,
game, but
And
no.
I, in my goofy ass, I know it's Lords of Shadow, but I'm still like Lords of
Yeah.
the Fallen in my head.
Okay. All right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lords of Shadow is the games they did. Lords of Shadow 1 and 2, and they did like I think a PSP one or something like that eventually did come to PC and things like that too. I got them all on PC, by the way, on my Steam, but and on Xbox actually. I got them on both. So yeah, they did Lords of Shadow, and of course that was along with the Kojima Productions and stuff like that with Konami. But yeah, this looks pretty damn
fire.
dope. Yeah.
And 505 publishing it. 505.
505.
505 and who's the other one? The one that keeps changing their name. That they the people that publish Plague Tale.
Oh, that's
Um,
impossible.
They keep changing their name. Those two are like the up and coming publishers that everything that they put out, I'm just kind of like, all right,
yeah. Then they.
I'll take a look.
Yeah, I'm of the same mind. And this, you're talking about. Come on, I got them at the tip of my.
They used to
tongue.
be I'm looking up. They used to be Focus Entertainment. I don't know what they are now.
That's right. It was
because they
Focus.
keep
That's
changing
right.
their name.
It was Focus. That's right. I think it's still Focus though, isn't it? It's Focus Home Interactive now.
No, so it was Focus Entertainment. Used to be Focus Home Interactive. And in April of 2024, they rebranded as Pool Up Entertainment.
That's a worse
Wait,
name. That's a bad
wait.
name.
What's the name of it now?
Pool Up.
Oh, that sounds so stupid.
PULLUP, and it's
That's a
the
diaper brand.
the P at the end is also capitalized, so that
You know
it
what?
can
They
be,
sure did do that, didn't they? That's right. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. That's
and
I didn't like it
Oh,
then,
no.
and I hate it now.
so Pool Up Entertainment is supposedly the parent company that holds both the publishing arm and the subsidiary studios that they own, so as to
Okay.
not confuse the parent with the so Pool Up Entertainment's the parent company, Focus
Got you.
Entertainment's the publishing arm.
Got you. Okay, so
Okay.
they're still Focus
right.
Entertainment. Okay,
Yeah, they're still Focus Entertainment. The publishing part of it is called that.
Pull Up is that. Yeah, what do they call that? I forgot they didn't call that when the word can be said backwards and forward. What is that? Mammogram. I almost said mammogram.
Not a mammogram.
I
There ain't no mammogram. I
Almost-
know that for sure.
almost said a mammogram.
It's a palindrome.
Palindrome.
That's
Thank
right.
you. That's it. Mammogram. Get your mammograms out there now.
Yeah, get yourself checked.
And Focus Entertainment, of course, like you said, they have been churning out some great games, in my opinion, too, and at least games that are decent.
Yeah.
They have subsidiaries of Deck 13,
Yep.
.emu, which making a lot of great, bringing back a lot of classic games series. Dozy, Dick Simmons, I'm not sure how you say the name. Strim on Studio, like a lot of other ones that you probably wouldn't know, but .emu is one of them I
'Cause
love.
505 is the ones that's publishing Kojima stuff when it comes to other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
They published the Death Stranding when it came to Xbox. So like they're publishing 505 is publishing this too. So like I love 505 and I love Focus Entertainment. They're like the two up and coming publishers that I'm like, I
Yep.
really want these guys to do well because they keep publishing really cool stuff.
100% with you. Yeah, .emu is doing that Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. And but it made me think of also the other team that's doing the Shinobi game. But so both of those teams are bringing back classic games in a good way. So yeah, Danny, what's your thoughts on this though? What's your thoughts on Blaze of Fire?
Terrible name, first of all. I think that's like quite possibly like the most generic name I've ever heard in my life. I don't know. I'm kind of in a similar vein as with the last one where I'm like, I don't know, like it looks really good, but I just like there's something about me where I just cannot believe that this game is going to exist. And I don't mean that in like, oh my god, it looks so amazing. Like it's good. No, I mean like literally I look at it and I see that name and it's like this game is not hitting market. And I don't know what that is.
At least this one is coming from a well-known studio with a well-known publisher. That's where my like I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling like that in comparison to the last one where it was a studio that really hasn't done anything on its own. No publisher, just PC.
Your lack of faith is disturbing. But
Yeah, well, and I also just I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I also just like think it kind of looks like fine. Like I don't think
kind
it
of
doesn't,
generic to you. Yeah.
not generic necessarily.
Yeah.
It is like fantasy stuff, and I just don't think it looks particularly great. Like
Okay.
I'm looking at some of the like the dodge animations and stuff. Like it looks really clunky.
Yeah. Probably needs some more
it-
polish,
it
right?
Looks like
Yeah.
Well, it looks like a 7 out of 10. You know what I mean?
I
And that's
see what
not
you
a
mean.
problem.
Yeah.
But it's just like I'm looking at this game and I'm like, yeah, this looks like a game where someone will be like, hey, you ever hear of this game? I'd be like, no. But it's cool that you like it so much.
I do know what you mean. Yeah, it's going to be a decent, or at least not decent, because that's decent for us. It's so many different meanings, but it's going to be a perfectly good game, but it won't be a great game. That's going to be remembered. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like there'll be a couple people who'll be like, wow, we really should have this game should have gotten more attention. It's like criminally underrated, and then everyone else will be like, no, it's just rated.
Yeah,
It's what it
It's
is.
just rated.
Yeah, it's just rated. Yeah, I can see that. Let's move past this and move to the major discussions or discussion. I guess you know what? One is faster, it's shorter than the other. So let's move to the Fable discussion, and then we'll move to the main topic. How about that?
Sounds good.
So here's IGN article: Fable delayed to 2026, and Microsoft reveals brand new pre-alpha gameplay. Microsoft has delayed Fable from its 2025 release window to some point in 2026. Let me highlight this. This white is blinding my eyeballs. While also providing a first look at brand new gameplay. Fable is the upcoming reboot of the Xbox franchise made famous by the now defunct Lionhead Studios. It's in the works at UK studio Playground, which is known for the much-loved Forza Horizon series of driving games. In the latest episode of the Xbox Podcast, Craig Duncan, formerly Rare Studio head, who took over as head of Xbox Game Studios last fall, moved to reassure fans that the new Fable game is definitely worth the wait. Let me read some of his words, and I'll read this and we'll get to it. I just want to start with really excited about progress Duncan began. Really excited about where Playground are. We previously announced the date for Fable as 2025. We are actually going to give Fable more time, and it's going to ship in 2026 now. While I know that's not maybe the news people want to hear, what I want to assure people of is that it's definitely worth the wait. I have unequivocal confidence in the Playground team. If you think about their history and the legacy of Forza Horizon, the last few games critically acclaimed, 92 Metacritic, award-winning, beautiful, played great. Yep. And he says, and just what they're bringing to Fable as a franchise, just think of the visuals of what you expect of Playground games, plus amazing gameplay, British humor, Playground's version of Albion, so inspired by what's going before with the franchise, by their take, and quite frankly, the most beautifully realized version of Albion you've ever seen. So really excited about the plans and really excited about the future. I want the community to understand that we do these things for the best of the games and the teams, and ultimately that results in the best game for the community. In the same breath as announcing the delay, Microsoft revealed 50 seconds of brand new alpha gameplay showing Fable combat, some city walking scenes, a clip of the main character riding a horse through a fantasy-styled forest area, and of course, kicking a chicken. You got to kick the chicken. The admittedly brief gameplay gives us a decent idea of what Playground is going for here, as well as the visual fidelity Duncan mentioned on the podcast. I could play it, I guess. Whoa, that's loud.
Sorry, man.
I'll mute that and then let that play. Yeah. So, what's you guys' thoughts on this? I guess I'll start with you, Crusader. You are a guest. What's your thoughts on this? I mean, it's not a whole bunch given to us. I mean, I think many of us, I want to just try to make it like I called it, but many of us have been saying we didn't think this was actually releasing this year.
I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even remember them saying officially that it was 2025.
They did at like not E3, the June showcase last year. It was 2020. It was 2025 was on the trailer.
Okay.
The gameplay made everything okay.
Okay.
They showed this gameplay, and I was like, they've at least shown me something today. Acceptable. If they're delaying it because it needs a little bit more time and they haven't put a date on it yet, and it was supposed to be 2025, but 2025 is pretty good, fine. Move it out. That's okay. Not as mad as I was about the avowed delay. If they're delaying it to escape GTA 6 with a game that they really want to hit the mass market real well, makes sense to me. That's fine. Be real funny if GTA also got delayed, but you know,
that would be crazy.
If the
you thought you could escape me?
Like, the pessimist in me is like, Phil Spencer's going to come out and say all of our games are just going to be day one on everything, and there is no more exclusivity starting in 2026. And I'm gonna be like, you motherfuckers,
you son of a
Fable,
bitch,
so that you could put this on PlayStation day one.
And I'm glad you said that.
That's the pessimist.
I'm glad you said that, because one of the thoughts is they're only delaying this not to avoid GTA, but to make sure that it's day and date on PlayStation as well. That's one of the thoughts.
And that again, the line between me being absolutely fucking pissed about that and me not caring about that is very, very thin, and it's all really gonna depend on if I know more about the future of how my library will really look like. Xbox is probably like, again, they come out at GDC and they show me something that makes me really excited for like the Xbox OS and like the future of how my library is truly going to exist, then I'm just gonna be like, you know what? this is fine. I'm okay with it now. They've actually given me what I wanted to hear. If they don't do that and this comes day one on PS5, I'm going to have some choice fucking words. They're not going to be pretty. We're not going to be able to air them on a podcast like this. I'm going to be furious.
Yeah.
Like, and the line between me being like Xbox, I'm all with you, and Xbox, me not being with you, very, very thin.
It's a very thin line between love and hate.
Yeah, to quote Destiny 1, I don't think anyone's gotten the Destiny 1 quote that I'm going here. The line between light and dark is so very thin. Do you know what side you're on? It's from the original, from D1. But that's basically my sentiment right now, right?
Yeah.
And like, so like the Fable delay, the line between me being okay with it and me not being okay with it's really gonna depend on what Microsoft's gonna do with the release and the context surrounding that.
Yeah, fair enough. What about you, Danny? What's your thoughts on this? And do you think, I'll add a wrinkle to this for you. Do you think, what exactly do you think the game was delayed for? Because looking at this pre-alpha footage, it's clear the animations are not all the way done. Right, it was pre-alpha. It's probably old, right?
Yeah, I think we were looking at, if this game was coming, me and you, I mean, we were basically saying from the beginning, we were like, I don't think this is coming out 2025.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people were saying that. Like, that's not crazy.
True.
But it's this thing of like, could they have been delaying it because they needed more time to finish it? Maybe. I feel like it's kind of early for that. Usually when it's like, oh my god, this isn't coming together, usually those delays come like 6 months out, and I feel like we're still like 10 months out, you know, because I think this was coming out like probably November, December, if ever.
That's my thinking too.
So for me, yeah, I don't know. I'm really looking at this as like, they've already got an ass load of first party coming out this year. They don't need this coming out. They've already put out a fantasy RPG that's doing, by all accounts, better than they were expecting it to.
Yep.
In every world except critically for some reason. But in terms of like sales and player engagement, doing a lot better than I thought it was going to.
Hell, even critically, it's at an 81, so it's not even bad.
Yeah, but
All right,
not. I think that's probably about what they were expecting. That's about what I was expecting, was like mid to low 80s.
Yeah, I said 85 for myself. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like,
And they have
truly
another.
think-
They have Outer Worlds 2 coming out as
That's
well.
right.
Another
Yeah,
RPG.
That one I also don't know is coming out this year. When that one gets delayed, I also won't be surprised, which is how I feel about this. I'm not surprised at all, and I'm kind of like, because I am looking at the back end of this year, and I've been saying it for a while now. It's going to be this first like half is going to be dominated by Xbox doing all the stuff that we already know they're going to do, and the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to come out, and that's going to dominate the conversation, and then the last 4 months are going to be
GTA.
Where's GTA? Is GTA happening? What other games can come out around this? And it's going to be a situation where like either there's going to be one really big game that comes out, or there's a solid chance that just nothing comes out really this holiday.
Well, they still have, and like Microsoft still has Call of Duty coming out this holiday. They still have. We're fairly certain, like all signs point to an Oblivion remake this year.
Yeah, that's true.
we
Possibly even
have-
Clockwork Revolution this year.
We
that's
have.
one of the
I quite
rumors.
frankly think that I think they were looking at their schedule and they were looking at what
Yep.
the plans for the rest of the industry
Yep.
was for the tail end of this year, and I think they went, we don't need this now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like we don't. We're making
And-
good money.
well,
Our
we
games
don't
are
need it.
performing better than we thought they were going to.
Maybe maybe they're like, we don't need it, and maybe the extra 6 months could be really good for it.
Yeah, it probably
Right.
will be. I mean, it can't hurt really.
And what we also have Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Oh yeah, that's
Right.
right.
They have they're publishing, and they're not going to compete with what they are publishing, even though they're not in-house making it. Ninja Gaiden 4.
That's right.
Like, it's not like
Gaiden?
there's
Yeah.
not gonna be a lack of Xbox games, even if like Fable gets moved.
No,
There simply will not be.
Yeah.
We're looking at it right now, and just looking ahead at like the games that we know are coming out this year, and it's like
Yeah.
either Grand Theft Auto or Ghost of Yotei are coming out at the end of the year. It will not be both, I don't believe, because they're gonna play chicken until like September.
Death Stranding or Norman Reedus in the Funky Fetus too,
as
as well.
Genuinely looking ahead at like the games that we know are coming out this year, I would not be surprised at all if like we get to the Keeleys, and even at the Keeleys, like Microsoft has 3 of the nominations for Game of the Year. Like, and that's without
Wouldn't that be
Fable or any of these
insane?
other things.
Wouldn't that be
Well, because I'm looking
insane?
at it and I'm like, I
Doom.
don't necessarily think Avowed is going to make it there because critical reviews were like, meh.
It'll be in
But-
the RPG.
Yeah, it'll definitely be in the RPG.
Yeah.
But I think South of Midnight's got a solid chance of being in there. I think Doom the Dark Ages, if that's not on there, I'll be genuinely shocked.
I will hurt
like-
someone.
Like, there's
Unless
like,
it's
there's-
bad, but I can't see it being
I
bad.
doubt it. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a really strong universe where like Xbox is just already looking so solid this year that they're like, well, what do we have for next year? Like, we could delay this and maybe get some other games some other time. You know, I think that's really all we're looking at here.
Mhm.
The idea of like, oh, we're delaying it so we can launch day and date on PlayStation. I see that. Like, I see people saying that,
Mhm.
and it's like, that's possible, but I just don't really see that either. Because I do think that the future that we're heading towards is that like these games are probably going to be timed exclusives. Most
Yeah.
of the bigger ones, at
That-
least, are going
that
to be like
seems to be
6
the
months to a
case.
year, and then they'll launch other places.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to go both ways. When PlayStation finally gets on board, I think it's going to go both ways.
And we know that's that seems to line up, right? Because now you have Forza coming over in April, they've announced, and of course you know Indiana Jones, it will be 6 months from now, so that's likely April 2. That's the rumor for that, which makes sense. That's 6 months, I believe, from this release date, right? Or close to it. So yeah.
Is there a WoW expansion coming out this year? Like that
do
would
not
be
know.
another thing, because like that's like
Let me
we
look.
don't really think about that as Xbox players, like as console
Right.
players. But that WoW expansion is going to bring in so much freaking money.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
remember, there was a single mount in World of Warcraft that made more than the entirety of StarCraft 2 and its DLCs.
Oh, the
Um,
dinosaur thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
There'll probably be a Diablo expansion too, actually. now
no,
too,
that they announced that's next year.
Oh, they. Oh, okay.
They did. They're doing every other year.
Okay.
I guess that makes sense.
It looks like none. Wait. Okay, no.
Oh yeah, because aren't they starting, or did they already start? There was that thing where they were like, it's the World Soul Saga or whatever. It's like
Yeah.
three
So the
expansions.
first one came out. Dragonflight, I believe, was the first one in that.
Right.
In that.
Was it Dragonflight was the first one, or was it the newest one, the one after that?
Shadowlands.
Was there one after
Shadowlands.
Dragonflight?
You had
Yeah,
Shadowlands,
yeah.
Dragonflight, and
Oh.
you had War Within, which was 2024. So was it War Within?
I don't know.
Let me see. I don't know if it's anyone's after
I don't know
that.
what the most recent one was.
I don't know. I don't know enough about WoW.
Oh, okay. It says two further
World of Warcraft
expansions.
Midnight.
Midnight and
Yeah.
Last Titan.
It's
There's the War
2025.
Within Midnight
So, yeah.
West. Yeah.
Have they announced the ESO expansion for this year yet? Do I need to like?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
Do I
about
need
it.
to see if someone needs help? Because like again, there's so much stuff.
It's a lot. Yeah.
They have so much stuff coming out. Supposedly they have a bunch more,
are you
at least little things. Like again, we know two of them are Tony Hawk Pro Skaters getting announced in like a few days. And we know because it's getting announced on 3-4, which is
Mhm.
hilarious that it is going to be the remake of 3 and 4.
Yeah.
We know that's happening.
Shout out to Special Nick, by the way, who did a little
Yeah.
Inception tweet where he put 3 + 4. I think it'll be 3
Yeah.
or 4 remakes, and like,
Yeah.
you clever little dog, you.
He's been teasing that since like November.
Yeah.
You know, like the Oblivion, and we know from the Bethesda FTC leaks, you know, where like they leaked everything in the metadata of their own files, that I think it's Fallout 3 is also supposed to be having the same remake treatment as Oblivion. So
Right, we've been
like,
hearing about that for a minute too.
that for the same amount of time as the Oblivion remake, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And because they got leaked at the same time, and this wasn't like a rumor from someone. This was straight up court documents that leaked, that we weren't supposed to see, and so like Fallout 3 could be, you know, late this year or even early next year, or maybe later in next year. But like, there's a lot of little things that we could be getting. Like, who knows? Maybe we could get World of Warcraft on console this year.
That's what I
Who
was
knows?
thinking, man. And that's
Oh,
why,
Like there's a lot of stuff that they could release.
even if
A
not
lot
this,
of
even if
things.
not this year, the way they're setting up the future, from everything we're hearing, I can see it being for the future console. It'll be there.
This is like the first year where like my Game Pass subscription feels great. Like consistently from January to the end of it, I think that there isn't going to be a month where I'm going to be like a little disappointed.
Yeah.
A little disappointed in like the generic stuff they're dropping, but the day one stuff, they're hitting the day one stuff.
Yeah.
It just as an update, it looks like they've been doing basically every other year for expansions so far.
Oh, for World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
Okay.
The War Within came out in 2024, but I don't know
Okay.
because they announced all three at the same time if they're like going to speed that up at all.
Right.
But just their trend is every other year.
I still yet. I am a WoW virgin. I have yet to play that game.
Okay,
You
so it
can't
looks
play
like
it. You
Midnight's
literally
supposed to be
You'll disappear into it. I'll never see you again.
That's why I don't want to
Midnight
do
is
it.
supposed to be
Your ass
revealed
spent
this
far-
summer.
your ass spent 40 hours in the Vatican and Indiana Jones, and that's just like 8 hours long. If you get into Azeroth, you better apply for citizenship because
That's what I said.
Listen.
Because that's why I don't want to do it, man. Because I know I'll get
Like-
lost into that world.
Now let's throw him into 14, and it could be a self-contained prison he'll never
14.
escape.
Yeah, I was gonna say 14's like, if anything, bigger.
Oh,
It's
man.
much bigger. It's significantly bigger.
He's gonna be like, all right, so I just hit level 100 on or whatever max is on my my dancer, but now I gotta switch. I'm gonna do dragoon for the next 6 years.
Is the world still here? But yeah, so listen, let's move to the main topic and we'll get out of here. So I gotta do something a little special because I gotta start getting prepared for work. So I'm going to introduce this topic, give a quick thought, and I'll let you guys carry on to it. And I'll come back as you're discussing amongst yourselves. Special, right? Let's try that.
He's just gotta go take a poop.
Okay.
He's just trying to
Poppity poopy? Poopity
He's
poppity.
just trying to hide the fact that he's got to run off to the toilet.
Yeah.
He's like, I got this crazy idea. What if I dump ass real fast?
Audience, don't listen to Daddy. Polygon shares it. Warner Brothers closes Monolith Productions and Multiversus Studio. Cancels Wonder Woman game. A big shakeup at WB Games. Written by Michael McWhorter, rather. Let me highlight this again. The blinding whiteness of the screen. Warner Brother Games is making big cuts, closing 3 studios: Monolith Productions, Player First Games, and WB Games San Diego, and canceling its long development Wonder Woman game, the publisher told employees on Tuesday. Sheesh. All projects from these studios have been canceled. Monolith Productions developed Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, and its sequel, Shadow of War, and was working on Wonder Woman. Player First Games was the developer behind the recently scrapped fighting game, Multiversus. WB Games San Diego studio was working on what it was once described as an exciting new AAA free-to-play cross-platform game. Employees at Warner Brothers Game Studios were informed of the closures and game cancellations in a communication from executive J.B. Perrette, the CEO and president of global streaming and games for Warner Brothers Discovery.
Right.
In an email, employees
He's
obtained.
new.
He's pretty new.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
very new.
In an email, employees obtained by Polygon, Perrette cited a disappointing 2024 for the company's game division, saying that it would focus on 4 franchises going forward, and that is Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy, same game, of course, or IP, should I say, Mortal Kombat, DC, primarily Batman when it comes to single-player led games, but may include select other opportunities as the new DCU gets built, which I've heard about. They've been talking with James Gunn about that, and Game of Thrones. Regarding the now scrapped Wonder Woman, which was announced in 2021, Perrette said that the game no longer fell within our strategic priorities. Perrette said that the company is looking to repurpose our talent where possible by reassigning employees to open roles. In addition to focusing on fewer but bigger franchises, Perrette said that Warner Brothers Games aims to return to growing its mobile. It's funny because I wanted Microsoft to acquire WB Games, so that's in my head. Mobile games revenue, as well as regain our credibility and swagger at producing great games, Perrette said of recent release from WB Games. The product market fit and quality of too many of our new releases has really missed the mark. We need to and will do better for our fans, first and foremost, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead. Over the year plus, Warner Brother Games has delivered a string of misses, including Rocksteady Studios' Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, a relaunched Multiverses, and Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. In January, Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment president David Haddad announced his exit from the role after more than a decade. That must be what you guys were talking about right there. And leading games, the WB's game division. Reached for a comment. The spokesperson told them the following statement. I'm not reading all that. Anyway, so yeah. So just to set this up, the table up for you guys, and I want you guys to kind of do what you do. This game has been in development. There's reports that they had canceled the previous build of Wonder Woman and restarted
Yes.
it in 2023.
Late 2023, early 2024.
Insane. Troubled development. They now was the whole mix up with the Nemesis system.
They removed it in the reboot.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And then also now, of course, the 2036 situation. I want you guys to expand on all of that and really give the audience a whole thought on that. I'm going to step away for a second now.
Yeah, no problem.
And I'll let you carry it. All right, I'll be back.
Danny, why don't you start?
Yeah. So I think me and you probably had pretty similar reactions to it at first, which was like, oh, you fucked this up that bad. Like a Wonder Woman game sounds like it could be really easy. Not easy, but you know what I mean. Like it sounds like a
Good.
surefire hit, right?
Sounds like
Wonder Woman
great.
Wonder Woman is I think inarguably the largest female comic book character, right? I think that goes without saying. Even though she has not had a show since whenever Linda Carter was like, she didn't have her own cartoon. Her comics never really seemed to sell, but her merch is constantly selling. You see girls walking around school with like Wonder Woman backpacks and stuff.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that she is, quite frankly, in terms of popular culture, not really ever gotten the respect that she ever deserved. And a video game could have been a place that like would really start to take off. I love Wonder Woman. I think she's a phenomenal character. I've been reading a lot of her comics recently. So it feels like that's like a surefire hit. And I'm shocked that they couldn't bring it together. But then you hear about some of these things. Me and you, we both listened to the interview that he did over on Kind of Funny. And I think that interview did two things for me. Is number one, it explained the situation pretty clearly, where it was like, oh, this was never going to happen. Like this was never going to be finished. This entire studio was borked. Like I hate to see these people lose their jobs, but
Warner Brothers killed the studio
like a long time
ago.
Yeah.
This studio has been dying since 2021, and they've been limping along.
And then the other thing that came out of that was strangely like a sense of optimism almost, because Jason Schreier, he was like, obviously he was saying like, oh, this is terrible that all these people are losing their jobs, because it is. But then he was also saying, because Greg Miller asked him like, do you think that this is like, is this like the end of the WB making games? And he was like, no, I actually think that they're gonna, like, this is the sign of them starting to turn things around. He was talking about this, what's his name, JB Perez or whatever, and how Perret, and
they had to break the bone to set the bone.
Yeah, it's people are saying like he is a really good new leadership for this. People seem certainly at least a lot more positive about him than the previous guy, and that while the team's being let go, like it sucks to see them go. I mean, we look at who they are, and it's like, it's Monolith, who their entire upper management is gone, and they were unable to put together a game since like 2019.
They left to go. They all left in 2021 when their game, their new IP got canceled, and founded that studio that's making the Black Panther game at EA.
Right. Yeah. And then it's the Multiverses people, who that's the only game that I know that has both been launched and died twice.
Yeah.
And then a third one, I actually don't know what WB San Diego did. I think that
they were mostly a support studio, from what I understand.
So it's like, it sucks to see people lose their jobs, but at the same time, you look at it and you're like, I don't know, like I kind of get it. Like it's terrible, but like if I'm Warner Brothers and I'm trying to cut costs because these games haven't been coming out right for a while, like I'm this new guy coming in and I'm like, we gotta cleanse this wound. I think those are kind of sensible cuts to make, unfortunately. Like it's a terrible thing to say, but like it makes sense. And the fact that specifically Jason Schreier is coming out the other side of this with like a sense of positivity, when he is very anti-corporation, especially bigger corporations like WB, and he's generally a pretty big pessimist just across the board. The fact that he's coming out of this and he's the one telling like Greg Miller, DC fanboy like #1, he's telling him like, no, like this is actually probably a good thing. That gives me hope. That gives me hope of like, okay, we might see good things coming out of WB games again. And even the games that they say they're focusing on, it's like, those aren't necessarily ones that I'm super excited about in terms of like new crazy things, but it is things where I'm like, yeah, that kind of sounds like the kind of stuff that you should have been focusing on, right? It's like Harry Potter is their biggest money-making IP right now. A second one probably won't sell as well as the first one, but it'll still sell really well. And you could probably reuse a bunch of assets because you already built Hogwarts, And then it's like, oh, well, we're doing DC, but we're going to focus in on Batman. And it's like, cool, that's a surefire thing. Like you know how to make those. People know how to make those.
You just made
copy
an
the
excellent
formula.
VR one.
Yeah. So that's a surefire thing. Not necessarily surefire, but you know what I mean. And then I've already forgotten what the other two were, to be honest. Oh, Mortal Kombat. Yeah, Mortal Kombat always performs. And then fourth one that I don't remember.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, right? And like that one just came out with a mobile game or something. And it's like, yeah, that feels like 4 very safe bets. Not necessarily exciting bets, but it's like these are things where it feels like it's a guy who goes like, okay, I need to turn this around. I can't be taking risks right now, and I totally get that.
Yep.
And then on top of that, you're also hearing conversation of like people at the very, like literally James Gunn at the very top coming down and talking to NetherRealm and Rocksteady and all them about like, what can we do to like help you out? How can we help you like connect your things to the universe that I'm making? It's like, okay, well that to me shows that they are envisioning a future for this as a shared thing. That also gives me hope. And then you see like them coming out and it's like, we're going to do more partnerships. Like we're going to try and partner more with like Fortnite. And I know that that's not an exciting thing to say, but what that is like basically guaranteed money for them. If I'm a relatively big Fortnite player. One of the things that was a huge success in Fortnite was the Marvel season. If there's literally just a DC season, they'll make a ton of money selling those skins, doing the partnership deal with Epic. Like they'll make a ton of money off of that, and they don't even have to develop the game themselves. Like they're saying a lot of the right things right now, and that feels very positive. And it's a shame that the entry point to that positivity is, and we close these 3 teams.
Yep.
But it's where we're at, so I kind of have to take it.
So, you know, when I heard this at first, my first reaction was really just angered that they were closing these. Well, one great studio, one studio that I know a game they made, and one studio I didn't know made. But like, I was really frustrated that we were seeing yet more closures. Then, you know, whereas you saw the optimism, I grew really angry at how.
Oh, I was angry at first.
Well, like my anger just grew in a different direction.
Oh, okay.
Into how did they fuck the bag so hard with such legendary talent for so many years? How did this happen? How was it allowed to go on like this for so long? To get to the point where this shakeup was actually needed to fix things. Because you're right, it likely will end up fixing things as to what has happened. But it is disgusting that it got to this point with so many legendary makers. Like, there never should have gotten to a point where the entire leadership at Monolith felt the need to leave. Like, what?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, and my anger extends back to things that are just in the past and, like, are cemented in stone from, like, you know, half a decade ago. But it's still like, what? Excuse me? But I think the thing that I am the absolute maddest about over anything is that the Nemesis system is locked to this godforsaken company that's not going to use it until 2036. Warner Brothers.
They were also saying that like it could get released a little bit earlier if they just don't pay the thing, and like right now they are looking to save money, so it's a high possibility they just go like, fuck it.
My thing is like, they could renew it and they could be like, hey, we will license this on the cheap to anyone who wants to use it, right? I mean, I don't need so Monad. Am I having a stroke or am I reading? Monad? Is it Monad?
Yeah, it's Monad.
Okay. My brain was like, it should be Nomad.
No.
Yeah, my brain was like having a stroke. It's like 11 o'clock at night. You know, but like, I don't necessarily blame the board because I don't think the board knows what's going on in video games. I blame the fuck up they just fired.
Yeah.
The former president of WP Games.
Yeah, and we were joking before we started recording this. We were like, well, this is one of the rare instances where we can say like Well,
upper management got their head fucking
yeah,
rolled
at least
first.
upper management is taking the hit on this.
Yeah,
because it's not one of those situations where it's like, oh no, we don't take pay cuts, because it's like that dude got fired. His ass
that
is
dude
gone.
got straight up fired. That's not even like, oh, did Jim Ryan get asked to leave? No, that guy just straight up got fucking sacked.
Yeah, they
like
didn't even
there's no
pretend.
question about that. That's
Yeah.
not even like conspiracy. That's not even like, well, maybe no. That guy was let go.
They threw him out and emptied his desk out a window at him.
Yeah, didn't even give him a courtesy. Like he was, yeah. But like the Nemesis system is so cool.
Mhm.
And yeah, like that is probably the thing that there are so many cool ideas and things. Like, again, there's some franchises that I'm really freaking frustrated that we're not going to see. I would love to see them license them out to third parties outside of WB. Like, I love Fear. I love
yeah.
the Fear franchise. Condemned is another one, right? I love the things that Monolith made. And there's a lot of original IP that's original to WB games that's not really like Warner Brothers properties that we're just not going to get to see anymore. And that makes me sad. Makes me very, very sad. So like there is a kind of hope that like, okay, well, you know who might want to take like Fear 1 and 2 and like remaster them for you is Night Dive Studios. So like, can you at least WB like go out and do that? Like you want to repair your reputation a bit, do some things that will cost you nothing, like, or cost you very little. Like release the Nemesis system, release it.
Yeah.
And that costs you nothing. Like, really doesn't cost you much of anything. And get some of your reputation back.
Absolutely.
Sell the Fear IP. Sell the Monolith IPs to someone. So that, like, something can happen with them if you're not going to do anything with them.
I don't necessarily foresee them selling them.
They won't.
They did.
They're my IP to sit on and do nothing with.
Yeah. Yeah. I see you also
like,
enjoy Smiling Friends.
Oh yeah.
That
I use that is the most Sony IP on the planet. It's my IP to sit on and do nothing with.
Yeah, it really is. But
it's just so infuriating.
Well, the one thing that we can probably foresee coming out of this in terms of those old IP is that we know two things are true. We know that Warner Brothers needs money, and we know that they've been talking a lot with Microsoft about partnering for video games. And so I do think that there's a high probability, not that we get new of those games, but that those games get like added to Game Pass or something.
Yeah.
I think there's a really solid chance of that, genuinely.
I'm gonna sit right here, and I'm gonna be like, listen,
I'm sure you already
Warner
own all of them,
Brothers,
so it's not helping
Microsoft, Warner Brothers and Microsoft, and by extension of Microsoft, Activision Blizzard,
Yeah.
unfuck the rights to Fear 1.
Please.
Please.
What's going on with who owns that? Is that not?
So
What's going on?
it was.
Do I own that?
So Fear 1 cannot be listed digitally on the Xbox Store. It can only be purchased via bundles on PC. I don't think you can buy it standalone except for like some really weird edge cases. I believe they're finally fixing it on like GOG.
Is it?
But it's
is it
in
back
rights.
compat?
It is
you have
back
the disc, you
compat,
can
but
play
it is
Okay.
physical only.
Okay, that's good to know.
As the same thing is true with the Fear like standalone expansions for the first game. It's Perseus
And 50 Cent
Mandate
Blood on the
and
Sand.
oh my god. I want a copy of that so bad, but it's like $400.
It's very expensive right now.
Yeah, but Fear 1 was published by Vivendi Games.
Oh no.
Vivendi owned Blizzard, I believe. And
It sounded like that,
Vivendi
yeah.
merged with Activision, and Activision Blizzard was created. But sometime during all of this, Vivendi was publishing Fear, and then Warner Brothers bought Monolith, and Monolith owned Fear, but Vivendi owned the rights to publishing the first Fear. And the rights to the first Fear got irrevocably fucked during the Activision Blizzard merger. Or that, yeah, when Activision Blizzard, Vivendi, all that merged to create Activision Blizzard in the first place, the rights to the first Fear got fucked. That's why it's backwards compatible, but it's not listed on the Xbox Store.
Try to
But
imagine
Microsoft
the
now
alternate
owns.
universe
Right.
where Vivendi got all of the things that they wanted, where they continued to own Activision, where like Activision Blizzard,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, they also like went through with the purchase of Ubisoft, and Vivendi's like the biggest name in video games right now. Imagine that hell.
Yeah, I know, right? But like like Microsoft and Warner Brothers have it within their power to negotiate and fix the travesty that is the Fear. Like Microsoft could just like let the publishing of the first Fear just like fall back to Warner Brothers. They can do that. I would love to see Fear get unfucked, and as a result, just get the Xbox 360 Fear games on Game Pass. Like, there's a lot of little things that I would love to see. Just again, these are like goodwill gestures between like Warner Brothers and Microsoft. Get some good PR, because like this Fear ain't flying off the shelves, even if it's relisted. But
No,
they're things that
certainly
don't
not.
cost like anything to do. That just kind of make you forget that everything is shit. Right?
Yeah.
Like, just do some goodwill gesture shit. Release the nonsense. Yeah, it's on GOG for like 99 cents. They just relisted. I know they're in the process of relisting the Fear games, and they're expediting it because of this on GOG's like game preservation thing. So I think there's some level of it's getting fixed.
Well, that's good.
But like there's just, it makes me so mad that there's so many games that are now in the like forever jail of, nothing's gonna come from any of this. Like, not remasters. It's just so sad. But yeah,
It's
like
tough.
this is
just
this
to
is
add-
an annoying topic.
Just to add to that and to cap it off, so we
He
can.
came
Perfect timing.
He's got to cap it off after he pinched it off.
Oh, I lost about 5 pounds. No, so a lack of leadership, mismanagement, all that is clear, right? And to you guys' point, and to your last point you were just making, Crusader, the fact of us not getting anything out of it, all these developers that have lost their jobs, and we talked about this before, me and Danny, about all the potential that is just gone from gaming now. It's devastating. If you're a true fan of gaming, seeing losses like this has to hurt. You're right, and that's just on the level of a gamer as a consumer, but as on a human level, you realize, damn, all these people in a recession situation or near recession we're about to go into, and the state of the world, this is terrible. Monolith had about 174 employees, all likely fired and some possibly removed and moved to other teams, whatever the case. So it's devastating once you look at the human cost of all of this, right? And you just don't. That's why I like some people I see wish bad on games and hope that they fail, and I can't get with that sentiment.
Umbra, go.
What were you gonna say?
Did
Did I cut out?
So on my end, you're going in and out real bad. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you are going out a little bit.
Is he going in and out on yours too? Because like
Yeah,
I'm
not
only
too bad,
hearing,
but he is.
I'm hearing like 3 words, and then I miss 3 words.
Discord might be acting up a little bit, but just to say,
Probably.
condolences and well wishes to those who've lost jobs and are seeking a new home. And we all wish that you guys and hope that you guys land on your feet wherever you go and whatever you do. Just the human cost is the devastating part, outside of losing all the potential of these great games that could have come from a lot of these games studios and such, and developers.
Well, can I add one more thing before we get
Sure.
out of here?
Sure.
I think one of the things that's most disappointing for me, just as a Wonder Woman fan, is that this game wasn't coming together. I think that's clear, and so I'm not necessarily upset that they cut their losses on it. But it seems like they were doing a lot of things right. Like, we just found out after the fact that they had brought on Gail Simone to like consult on it and to help write for it. And Gail Simone is a a really, really good comic book writer. She wrote some of the most famous Wonder Woman stories in existence. She's not number one. That's probably George Perez, but he's super dead. And then Greg Rucka is like questionable. Him and her go back and forth in terms of like who people think is better. But she wrote The Circle, which is I think like probably a top 5, top 3 Wonder Woman story arc of all time. So they were doing a lot of really good, intelligent things with the character, and it's just a shame that, like, from a production standpoint, it just seems like they were never making any progress on it. Because I really, really wanted this game, like, bad.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, DC has had their ups and downs as a.
It's all on Superman, baby.
It's all on Superman.
Boy, Superman got to get this shit together.
He's got to save the day, literally. So I hope that these, it's sad, man, because. We grew up on these things. I grew up reading these comics and such, and these heroes. All of them, hell, the world has. So it's sad to see them in a situation like this where, it's uncertainty. And like you said, I wanted to see the Wonder Woman game too. I wanted to see what they can do. I like Monolith. I think they had talent, a lot of talent there, not just from the Fear games that you guys were mentioning, but to the Condemned games I had for the Xbox 360. So. And I mean, they did also. It's another game they did. I can't think of right now off the top of my head. But like they clearly talent at that studio, and it's sad to see this happen. And with DC and Warner Brothers, they're just teetering on this edge of irrelevancy. It seems like, and being closed and shuttered. And I really hope somebody saves the day for DC at the very least. It just seems like, man, can't catch a break.
It's got to be Superman. I genuinely think that Superman movie has a lot riding on it. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. That's not even I think. We know that.
Yeah.
But I really genuinely think that Superman movie is going to do crazy numbers.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I'm going to be there for day and date, I guess I could say, for the release of the movie. I mean, I'm going to be seeing that Fantastic Four, all of that. So, yeah, I think it's going to be good for what it's worth. I think James Gunn is a very capable director, and old Corn Sweat looks like he's going to turn in a good performance. Terrible name, but
that's fine. That's why all you ever have to know him as is Clark Kent. That's all you got to remember.
That's it. Kal-El and Clark Kent. That's it. But that said, let's get out of here. Thank you guys in the chat for showing us your patronage and your viewership, even for those who may not have spoken and not have spoke, but are lurking and giving us a view. Thank you all for coming through. We appreciate you as always. If you guys have not done so and you liked our discussion here, please hit the like button and subscribe, or just do it anyway and throw us a pity like. I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you. Crusader, my man.
Oh, what's good?
There you go.
Sorry, I was muted.
No, you're okay. I just that's why I paused when I said it. Like, let me make sure he's right there.
I was talking and I realized I had the boom on my headset up.
Yeah. Crusader, I just want to thank you again for coming through and blessing us with your knowledge and your thoughts. Appreciate you. I've got to definitely put your information in the show notes afterwards. Tell the good folks where they can find you and what you'll be up to.
Yeah, you can find me at Crusader3456 on most social media and gaming platforms. The only one that I don't really open up to adding people on is Discord, but like Bluesky, Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, hit me up. I'm going to be talking about a lot of games. You'll see me covering GDC, and you will either see me be very grumpy that I'm not going to see an Xbox OS, or very happy with what I'm seeing with the Xbox OS when at that event. And yeah, I'll just be playing a bunch of games and giving my opinions on them.
There you go. Excuse me. The show, the TXR. What's the situation with that again?
Yeah, so we're still on hiatus for a while until Invader is good to start hosting it again due to his house flooding. So we're on hiatus for a bit.
Yeah. Good luck to that brother. Hopefully he can get everything repaired or at least taken care of soon. Yeah, man. I know that Sunday's typically where you guys day, right?
Yeah, we usually did it from Sundays from like 9 to 11.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys bounce back with that. But in the meantime, in between time, that loss is our blessing over here with us. So
Sure.
absolutely appreciate you. And last but not least, Daniel J. McGee, my co-host.
Who?
Yeah. Great show, man. Tell the good folks where they can find you and what you'll be up to.
You can follow my podcast Ready Set Replay on Spotify and YouTube. We just started and need all the support we can get, so please help us out there. You can also find me on Twitter and Bluesky at Daniel J. McGee.
There you go. So check Danny out. Make sure you check out his side podcast with him and his buddy, and subscribe over there as well. I believe I have the link for that in it. If I do not, Danny, it's on your channel, right?
It's on my channel. I can get a link for you.
Yeah. Post a link.
I'll give it to you, and we can put it in the description or something.
Okay. Yeah. But definitely, guys, check out Danny's podcast and subscribe to his channel as well, if you could. And for myself, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite, you'll find me either way across social media. Typically, Twitter is your best bet to find me. I need to get more active on Bluesky and such. By the way, Jez did share it out, by the way, Crusader. You were right when you shared it to him.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he did. But even though he follows me, damn you, Jez. But anyway, like I said, you guys can find me on social media under my name. And as far as what I'll be up to, I have the Infinite Podcast tomorrow with myself, Risky for the Biscuit, That Blue Number, Dante Moody, and sometimes Garuda Intruder. I believe, Tuesdays at 12 o'clock Eastern on Boom's Xbox Factor. And of course, here Thursdays with us again at 8 o'clock Eastern on The Fix. And I'm just going to be gaming, man. I'm going to be getting through Avowed, the rest of it. I've been taking you know me, I'm a slow burn. I don't rush. So I'm seeing everything. I'm 70 plus hours into this thing. So yeah, and it's not even a 70-hour game. But yeah, thank you guys again in the chat for coming through. You all have a great weekend. Play some games, enjoy yourselves, and try not to be too stressed in this world. And we will talk with you guys later. Have a good one, guys.
Have a beautiful time.